what's going on here. All right, having some technical problems.
That's fine.
Last thing I wanted was technical problems. Let's see here. All right. Let me just start with it. The music is not working out right now for us, so let me go into the show. Okay. What is going on with this?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
yes.
But I'm having some problems. We're probably live right now, but
you are live right now.
Yeah, we'll wait for folks to come on in. I'm having some problems with my. Oh, I know what it is now. Damn it, I know what it is. Let me pull this back and uncover that. Boom, boom, boom.
Info, whatever you want to know, come join the Mount the Info show. It's the info, it's the Mount the Info. Whatever you want to know, come join the Mount the Info show. It's the info, it's the info. Whatever you want to know, come join the Mount the Info show. It's the info, we got the info. Whatever you want to know, come join the Mount the Info show. It's the info, man. You can call them information info, man. Kicking knowledge all over this nation. Win, lose, or draw. You can bring your hate team, but if you want to win, please don't bring your debate team. We talk Japanese shogun, Aztecs, old mix, and African dogun. It's the info, it's the Mount the Info. Whatever you want to know, come join the Mount the Info show. It's the info, it's the Mount the Info. Whatever you want to know, come join the Mount the Info show. It's the info, it's the info. Whatever you want to know, come join the Mount the Info show. It's the info, we got the info. Whatever you want to know, come join the Mount the Info show. It's the info, man. You can call them information info, man. Kicking knowledge all over this nation. Win, lose, or draw. You can bring your hate team, but if you want to win, please don't bring your debate team. We talk Japanese shogun. Wait a minute, info. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, info. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, info. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, info. Wait a minute. It's the info man in the lion's den. 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 It's the info man, yup, it's the lion's den. Yup, you can't fuck with us, no, so stop trying then. Still, it's the info man, yup, it's the lion's den. Yup, you can't fuck with us, no, so stop trying then. Still heavyweight, so they try to infiltrate with hate. Knock my meal up off my plate, but we do not take the bait. Don't hesitate, when it's time to do it to it, we still do they bullshit like our steering fluid. Wait a minute, lion's den. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, lion's den. Wait a minute. It's the info man in the lion's den. 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 Raise your ass about your slumber. This ain't no dream. You can't fuck with lion or info team. Raise your ass about your slumber. This ain't no dream. You can't fuck with lion or info team. Raise your ass about your slumber. This ain't no dream. You can't fuck with lion or info team. Raise your ass about your slumber. This ain't no dream. You can't fuck with lion or info team.
Oh yeah! All right, everybody out there listening, this is Information Man in Lion's Den. We're back at this again. Let's do a little bit of a test here, everybody. It's going to be a great show tonight. We got Sister Ericka Williams with us tonight. As you can see on that beautiful thumbnail, business, motivation, real estate. This sister is very dynamic. She's going to hip you. I told you that I want to come with material that's about solutions, that's about empowering us as a people. And this sister is going to give you some insight, some clues to building your wealth, to making your money work for you. You see what I'm saying? And we're going to get into it. I want to thank everybody that's in the chat room, that may be coming in the chat room as the night goes on. As promised, I'm going to bring you solutions, information that will open up one's mind. Right now, before I introduce our illustrious guest, this Mrs. Ericka Williams, Sister Williams, let's hear a few words from Brother Lion's Den, who's on. If I hope we were having some audio issues prior to coming on, folks. So if there's any issues with audio, bear with us. You know how this YouTube thing is. We're live right now, Facebook Live. We're live on speaker, radio, podcasting, hitting all the platforms tonight. Lion's Den, are you out there, brother? Can you hear me? I know we were having some audio problems.
Yeah, I can hear you guys. What's good, everybody? What's good?
All right, brother. Now, how you been doing? You a newlywed now, right?
Yeah, I'm a newlywed, and I'm doing good. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee right now, and I'm doing well, brother.
Okay. Let's give a little bit of an introduction to some of the folks that are in the chat room right now. Give folks some love. I see Gab Talk Media out there already right now. Sonia sees, but give a little bit of love. I know there'll be more people coming in as the night goes on.
Okay, we got Marlo's Corner in the building. We got Max Evans. I got Max Evans in the building. We got Cam in the building. We got T. Kelly in the building. We got Brother the Nubian. Yeah, we got let's see. Yeah, that's basically it right now, info. Okay. I'm sure folks will be coming in as the night goes on. It is a Wednesday night. Some folks are in the far east, like you were living at one point in time. So, you know, time zones. But yeah, let me just say this. This sister, Ericka Williams, I noticed this sister on O'Shea's channel, O'Shea Duke Jackson's channel. The sister is dynamic. She's real. She keeps it real. She does not, how can I say this? She does not have an attitude of woe is me, that we can't build something as a people, that we can't have economic wealth. We can't do anything. You hear people a lot of times on these YouTube channels talking about what Black people can't do, what we're not able to do, when there's so much that we can do, but we just got to believe in ourselves, okay? And this sister is going to break it down for you tonight. I want to give her a great introduction here, very important. We're going to put a little thunder on that. And I want to introduce Sister Ericka Williams. Give a clap for her. And with her knowledge, she's going to take y'all to school. Get your butts in school now. You're going to learn something tonight. You're going to learn something. Sister Ericka Williams, welcome to the show, sister. How you doing?
What is good, everybody? It's Ericka from the Classy Climb blog.
All right. Look, you know, we've been on a couple of those Sunday rumbles with O'Shea Duke Jackson. You have spoken your mind. You have laid to waste all these notions that Black people, that we can't build wealth, that Black people can't have businesses, that we can't turn around our circumstances from an economic level. Well, I want you to go ahead and give people a little bit about yourself, your background as it relates to business, the perspective that you're coming from. Why did you create a YouTube channel? And what are you doing these days, sister? What are you doing in business? How are you motivating people? As you say, business motivation and real estate. Go right ahead.
Well, what's up, everybody? This is Ericka from the Classy Climb blog. I think he's going to put my face on here in a second. It's on the thumbnail right now. But if you guys have not seen me, if you have not seen me before, I'm over at Ericka Williams. You can find me that way. And at the end of the day, I started my YouTube channel. Because I felt like I was running into people and having conversations with them, and they were acting like the stuff I was saying, I was a three-eyed unicorn or something. I mean, I was like, what? I've never heard of this. And so, but to kind of backtrack it a little bit further, we came from a farm family in North Carolina. Now, what people don't understand about North Carolina is we had the Quakers, and they were big on, if we educate the Black people over there and keep them on that side of town, they can have their own hospitals, their own doctors, their own lawyers, their own everything. And funny did they know, it was the best thing they could ever done, because if you look at the reading rates, the economic success of Black people in North Carolina compared to South Carolina Black folks, it's a whole different thing. It's literally night and day. There's reading problems in South Carolina, but you have multimillionaires all over Greensboro, North Carolina, the east side of the state, places where they were little Black towns. The other Black Wall Street was Durham, North Carolina, before they put a road through the middle of it. So what people don't understand is North Carolina is thriving very differently from South Carolina. Max events, the Quakers weren't just separatists. They were essentially trying to be good Christians, however you want to say it. They essentially were like, how can we put money into these people so they're not suffering? So, but with that being said, our family essentially, our grandpa had a juke joint. We had farms and all the other stuff. And eventually we lost some of that, but because we kept the land, you guys know the racial practices in the 1980s. They wouldn't give farm loans to many Black families, hence the lawsuits you had and the refund money coming back. But our grandma basically put it down. Hey, look, we got to go. Everybody's got to go do something now. We are broke. So we had a couple, maybe 2-3 years there where everybody joined the military, became cops, nurses, all of a sudden, opportunities opened up everywhere, right? Because my cousin, when he came back from basic training and he wanted to be a cop, and he was telling his neighbor, the neighbor was a German white man who owned multiple properties in the neighborhood, and was like, I'm going to sell you this house. Even though the realtor tells me to sell it to you for double, I'm going to sell it to you for half, because I'm just amazed at how well your family works. I'm just shocked. And I think that's sad a little bit, because it's almost like, I guess they assume Black people don't work. Yeah. But at the end of the day, for that area, it was one of the best things ever happened. Now he owns all 6 houses around his mother. So, it starts there. Part of the tax liens, I teach a course on tax liens, and people are like, well, how did you get this information? And I was like, our family had tax liens on us, and North Carolina is a tax deed state, so it's a little bit different. And so we learned about those tax programs from those mishaps, and was able to teach me that. And this is how you buy properties. Look, when you go down, most people right now, if you go down to a tax auction in certain states in the South, it'll be 10 dudes there. 10 of the same old dudes there that's been there every year buying stuff. You wouldn't even know. Those are the same guys that come every time. Now, the reason I know this is I went to try to buy a tax deed certificate in the state of North Carolina, tried to buy someone's house on the steps, and was outbid. And then they had this system called an upset bid. Now, if this guy came back and put 5% more down, sometime it was just $750, he could upset your bid, and it started over for another 14 days. You had to respond. This went on for months. And it wasn't because the property was just so good the guy had to get it. I think he was trying to discourage me from breaking up their little bit of small set of guys investing and break my spirit. So this is what made me go to online. Now, because why online? You can't see who I am. You don't know who I am. You don't know I'm a woman. You don't know what color I am. All you know is I have money. And so that's why I started teaching the tax lien courses. And the tax lien way I teach, it deals about 20 different states, but online is the way to go. Now, if you're in some small town, what's happened is Georgia realizing so many people are going to go online and kind of get around the good old boys club, as someone's saying in the comments. They started changing the law. No, you had to be at the steps. Mm-hmm. Couldn't be online anymore. Now you got to be at the steps. So what does that do? That makes you have to come back out of your house at an inconvenient time and be on the steps. But that's something Georgia's dealing with. Another thing is, as I worked in apartment management, I had a business in North Carolina, and it was across from a historically Black college called Fayetteville State University. We had a coffee shop there, and they started tearing up the road a little bit for almost 2 years. So me and maybe 4 other businesses went down in that plaza across, because the students couldn't get across the road. What ended up happening, it was a blessing in disguise. There were some other things that happened in North Carolina at the time, but I was able to leave the state, go to Texas. First thing I said was, I'm going to go and get an apartment management. I've already been working real estate with our family all these years. I know how to do it. So I'll go and I'll be an apartment manager, and I was a billings manager. Now, if anybody knows the difference, a billings manager does all the work. The other manager gets to speak to the residents. So in an office doing paperwork, and it was the best thing ever because I got to see the numbers. Now, I'm not going to name the apartment complex, but it was here on 620 in Austin, Texas. They had a guy, he was 34 years old, not much older than me.
Wow.
And he was making $500,000 owning a painting company, and he wasn't painting a daggone thing. He had Hispanic people coming in and painting, because what you have to realize is apartment companies are so cheap. They want to be so cheap. So instead of hiring a full-time guy for $50,000, what they'll do is they'll say, hey, we'll pay you, you know, $200, $300 to come in, paint this apartment, you know, sand off the door, clean, you know, change the color of the door, you know, paint that too, and move on. It's quicker, it's faster, you know, they can invoice you the payments. But what that company didn't foresee or plan out was that summer, they lost over 300 apartment units, had a turnover. So
wow.
Not only could they not do the stuff themselves, they had to outsource the work quickly in order, because if you don't know anything about Texas, in Austin, Texas, we have 157 people moving a day. In Dallas, you have 293 people moving a day. Wow. In Houston, it used to be 500 a day before the hurricane. Now they don't know who's moving out or what. So essentially, every day those apartments sit empty and not turned, you are wasting money, time, resources, you name it, right? So when I saw that math, the first thing I thought was, I'm on the wrong side of this equation. Wow. I'm over here making 56, it was almost 65 with bonuses at this apartment complex when I could be making $500,000, right? Not only was that, I was referring, just because I'm a nice person, I started referring all these people to different apartment complexes. So what ended up happening is I had 70 referrals. Now, if you know anything about Texas real estate, they can only pay you $50 or a gift card or something simple. But when I did the math on those 70 referrals, because you get first month's rent, 70 times $1,000 first month rent check would be $70,000 I missed out on that year. So in that moment, I said, not only do I need to go get my real estate license, I need to start this painting company. And lucky for me, I had a friend who was he worked for Minor. I don't know if people know who that company is. It's on the Fortune 500, 5,000 actually. And when I went to go work with him, I mean, it was like gangbusters, because what happens is you have a lot of Hispanic people in Texas who don't have their paperwork. And what ends up happening is they wait till their children are 18, 19, 20, put the business in their name, LLC in their name, and then continue working. So wow. A lot of times, you know, there's a thing called a business visa in America. People don't really understand. It's a business visa. We can do more. We can talk about it in another video, but essentially what you have in Houston, what you have in California is all these Asian people. If they stay long enough and their business on paper makes $250,000, they can kind of almost buy themselves into America. And they can request that they need 3 to 5 family members to help them grow their business. So where are those family members going to come from? Their home country. So hence why you see the gas stations with the cousins that come in for a few months and then go back out of the country. I mean, that's a whole nother show, but we'll talk about that another time.
Wow.
But it's essentially what, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. It's very interesting things that you're saying. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that a lot of us are not aware of. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think when you don't have knowledge, information is very powerful. Mm-hmm. Without that, you can't really empower yourself or make your money work for you. We've all been taught the old traditional way that, you know, you make your money, you put it in a bank. Yep. You know, talked about that, but very interesting. So that this is kind of, this sort of how you kind of got into the business that you're into now, sort of.
So now I've got the real estate license, I'm doing referrals. I'm talking about it on YouTube. Okay. And the reason I started talking about it on YouTube is because everybody acts like what I was saying was the craziest thing they've ever heard. You're talking about a 34-year-old white guy who wears blue jeans all the time, making $500,000 at just one apartment complex. You're not even talking about the contracts he has at other apartment complexes. And so at that point, I was like, I have to share this information because it's almost like nobody believes me. Now, at the time, what I was doing is I was starting to put money, thank you, food, clothing, shelter for the super chat. I was starting to put money into apps. I was learning about these different apps that were coming out, and I was so excited. And then Lending Club. So if anybody knows the story, I put over 600 different notes into Lending Club. And the notes started at $25.
Let me just say this right here. I want to say big ups to food, clothing, music, and shelter. My man, for giving me a super chat. I appreciate it, brother. Make sure you all go over and subscribe to this brother's channel. Check him out. This brother is completely on point. He has a great show. He touches on all different types of topics. Check out my man, Food, Clothing, and Shelter. Big ups to you, brother. Thank you for being here. Go on, sister. I just wanted to give him a little bit of love there, super chatting me. And I appreciate you being here with me once again, sister. Go ahead.
So, I was going to say Food, Clothing, Music, and Shelter. I apologize. I have a speech impediment, so if people don't know that. So if I mess up your names, it's not personal, I promise. And so in that process, you know, as we're connecting, I realized I was 51% ownership of the company. And I was in Austin, Texas, and there was no other Black company registered for painting with the, you know, with the government here, with the city, under the city's list. And so there was one other guy. He's a Black realtor. He wears a cowboy hat all the time. Now, here's what happened. I have a white partner in my business. People would call, and they were doing a test. They were seeing if I was on code here. They would go, hey, this is what I need from you, young lady. Can you go get me the paint, mark it up 30%, and go ahead and sell it to us? Now, I knew what that meant. I knew that meant, will you play the game? Will you be the minority business? Because you're a woman, you're a minority, multiple minority. We're checking off all these boxes that we worked with your company, but not going to use you for the actual painting services. Oh. So I was fine with it at the time because I told my friend, listen, if you don't play along, they're going to block you out. So we played along for a little bit. And sure enough, my friend was like, no, I'm not comfortable with this. You know, he's a white guy. He's from Texas. He's like, I'm not comfortable with this. They're not really using our business. And I go, if you don't play along, the phone's going to stop ringing. And sure enough, when he tried to say, hey, we'd love to come out and give you a bid, we'd love to do more than paint, the phone stopped ringing. The phone immediately stopped ringing. No other companies called to partner with us, to do anything with us. And when I would see the other Black guy who was on the list with his cowboy hat and his, you know, he's from Ericka Williams, he would laugh and go, your partner didn't want to play ball. And I would just laugh because I knew what that meant. We had been locked out of that kind of those kind of level contracts. But there's other ways and other methods to get money as far as painting, as far as going to apartments and going to different residential. I mean, there's so much more money out in the marketplace. When you do good, people look out for you. So I never felt like it was a mistake. Essentially, I just told people sometimes there's hiccups along the way. But what happened that really took a big hiccup was I had an appendix. I basically almost crawled into the hospital. Appendix almost burst. I had surgery, and I was being taken care of by my family in North Carolina. They flew me back home, and I had money coming in still from all these apps, from all this investments. Had money still coming in from my partnership, and that's when the light bulb went up. I was like, I really have to go hard on YouTube because people are overlooking this opportunity. They're overlooking investing. They're overlooking making money online like it's a joke or that's something kids do. And then that's when I started branching out more to other people. Now, what's good is I see Andre Hatchett is in the comment section and he gave a $3 super chat.
I want to give you big ups for the super chat, brother. Andre Hatchett, thank you, brother.
And what ended up happening is Andre Hatchett interviewed me, or somehow my interview with Juan Pablo got on Boyce Watkins' platform somewhere. I think Andre Hatchett was the one who reached out to me. And from that one video, I think interview that Andre did of me, I had over 600 phone calls and 600 paid consultations.
Wow.
So people paying for information, paying for money. And this is how I knew certain segments of our society know nothing. It's not just Black. I mean, for a long time, 90% of my clients for credit repair, tax liens, or the marijuana investment course were white and Hispanic. So there's a lot of people out here in our society lacking this great information. And so that's when I started reaching out more to people like O'Shea, like various guys I've seen here, and trying my hardest to be like, let me, not just let me come on your platform, but let me tell you my side of it. The suburb kid, the kid who's a concealed carry person, the person with cops in their family who is investing, and I think we get overlooked. I make it very clear every time I go on shows that 51% of African Americans live in the suburbs and rural areas, and mostly are conservative, mostly try to own their own home. There's a lot of topics that I think when I come onto different platforms, I try to express, because it's almost like all we think is all Black people live in the city and it's a struggle their whole life. And I think that's a disservice to us. That's a shame on the media, and we have to take our story back. So
Now, I want you to repeat what you just said. You said, what is the percentage of Black people living in rural and suburban environments? Repeat that for more effect for people that are listening.
Okay, so it's 51% of all African Americans live in rural areas or the suburbs. And so when people try to say, what's going on with the inner cities or Chicago? I'm like, ask your Black neighbor. You've got plenty of Black neighbors in your neighborhoods already. Even when there was some dust up in Dallas with the pool party birthday, and they're trying to get all these Black kids out of this birthday party. Like, what are they doing in this neighborhood? Because it's a wealthy part of Dallas. Well, that neighborhood, when they broke down the numbers, was 40% Black. So most of those kids already lived in that neighborhood. I mean, even when the police officers were fussing with some of the kids, he's like, I live down the street. I'm not some kid from the inner city of Dallas. I live here. And so that's why I think it's so important for us to own our media wherever we can, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, wherever, and share the stories of successful African Americans and people out there just living contrary to this stereotype we keep selling.
Information is power.
Now, I'm glad that you said that, because a lot of times we only tend to get the negative of what's happening to Black people in this country. You hear it in the news, we get it in reports. Certainly on YouTube, a lot of folks are talking about various things that are sort of sometimes the negative side. We've been on O'Shea's channel where we've had debates about whether the Black community is scorched earth. Certainly, Brother Super Slide, if he's out there listening, peace to you. Brothers have had thoughts like Super Slide that maybe the Black community as it's comprised now is a done deal. I'm living out here in California, and there are some that feel that Black people are pretty much done in California. There's a lot of things that are going on that are not in our favor. So, but you bring a different perspective when you bring up those kind of numbers, when you talk about that there are thriving. You sent the article out, which I was thinking about doing a video on, that there's 1.2 million Black men. I'm going to repeat it. 1.2 million Black men are moving into the middle class, or have moved into the middle class.
2.5 million.
2.5 million. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me. 2.5 million Black men have moved themselves into the middle class. So all this talk about, well, Black men are only in prison, that we're dead, that we're on drugs. There are Black men that are doing successful things out here in this world. There are Black people, Black women that are doing successful, but we just don't hear about it. And that's why we have to use these platforms, folks, to express the positive as well as we talk about the negatives that we want to improve ourselves from. Lions Den, you've been sitting back listening, brother. You have any questions for the sister?
I was going to say I had some stats I was going to give you to help you out even more.
Go ahead. It's your show, sister. Go
No, hey, I'm just, all right. So okay. So over the past decade, stay-at-home moms went up 13%. Now, many people say, well, that's not Black women. Incorrect. 100,000 Black homes are homeschooling. Those numbers just came out. So that's recent. Wow. All right. 1 million Black men make $70K a year. 600,000 Black men make 100,000 or more a year. These are from the IRS. The IRS is going to make sure you fill out your taxes. I assure you. Also, when people say the numbers, oh, it's so small, those people are baby boomers. There's a lot of push in our community about, oh, these are baby boomers. Let's end that struggle story. Are you ready? 48 million Black people, which I think the number is actually 60 million. I think there's been several articles the government's been dropping lately that, whoops, the numbers are off. And I talked about that on my show that, like my friend's Egyptian and she's like, they're counting me as white. So there's a lot of funny business with the numbers, but we'll go with what they have. 48 million Black people, 23 million Black people are over the age of 18. Out of those numbers, you have 5 million Black men, 5 million Black women married. Those people are out of the equation, right? So out of that other 13 million, you have various ages. 3 million of those folks are in college, young people in college. Out of those numbers, 2.5 million of those Black people have Black firms. You can go on blackdemographics.com for this information to verify what I'm saying. 2.5 million Black firms. And out of those Black firms, they spend over $106 trillion in our economy. Not our small spending power, but $106 trillion come from those firms, those Black firms. So we contribute to a society for sure. Another one that I was going to give. Oh, police, as far as police. So African American men, murder across the United States is down the past 20 years. You can go look that stat up. Across every city, across every demographic, including Black people. Prisons are being empty all across the United States. They're suing states because of that, them being empty. Then another one.
I want to stop. One thing you said. I want to emphasize this. In terms of crime, in terms of Black men. What were the numbers on that again? I want everybody to hear this.
Okay, so the past 20 years in America, crime is absolutely down. Murder is absolutely down the past 20 years. It's down so much that prisons are empty and they're suing states.
Exactly.
Guess who went up 50%? White women. Black women went down an additional 50%. Now, white women went up 50%. What was that from, everybody? If you've watched my channel, meth, pills, drug trafficking. So hence why I've been telling everybody I wanted y'all to invest in marijuana stocks and companies, because what they're going to do is transcend Aunt Becky and Susie and all these people who are suffering from meth problems and opiates into what? Medical marijuana for pain relief. It's easier to put these, instead of putting these people they don't want to put in jail, let's be really honest, they can transition them through insurance plans and companies into medical marijuana. I'm telling people this and they have not been listening to me. You're going to see this 50% white women increase. They're writing articles all over the Northeast about it. They're saying, that whole show, Orange is the New Black, it's full of white women in the jails right now.
Let me add this too, sister. Here in California, I work in psychology and mental health in the prison system. I've been doing it for over 16 years in California. They just passed a law called Prop 65, where they are releasing people out of prison who have non-violent offenses.
Yep.
A lot of brothers are coming out of prison in California who were only in prison because they had a drug offense. Now, when I've been on O'Shea's channel and I've been dueling with ABL,
the bully,
people, that a lot of Black men that are in prison, particularly in California, and we have the reputation of incarcerating more than anybody next to Georgia. A lot of brothers that I look at their records, their criminal files, they're in prison not because they murdered someone or did a really serious they're more of a drug possession crime, because Bill Clinton, y'all's Black president, y'all's first Black president, is y'all was saying, which was nonsense, Lions Den. Ain't that right, Lions Den? That's nonsense, right?
Very nonsense.
He's responsible for those mandatory sentences versus the powder cocaine, versus the rock cocaine, Pookie, if you can get it on the with Nino Brown. Remember that movie with Chris Rock when he was fighting from trying to smoke crack? Well, they were putting guys like Chris Rock, Pookie as it will, in these prisons for years under those kind of laws. So you are absolutely right about these numbers going down. People don't want to believe it. They want to keep painting the picture, this doom and gloom picture that Black folks, we haven't created any success or haven't broken out of some of these stereotypes. Just not true. I'm so glad that you're kicking it down. You got any more? Give us some.
Sure. So, and then when it comes to these type of crimes, the reason Black people have been crying for prison reform, we call them poor man crimes. And I'll give a breakdown. On average, you spend 1 to 3 years in jail for rape, child molestation, and it's a sexual assault. Yeah. When it comes to murder, on average, you're going to spend 3 to 6 years. If you're a man who's murdered your wife, on average, you spend 5 years, crimes of passion. If you're a woman who's murdered your husband, you're going to spend on average 10 to 15 years in prison. Okay. Now, what gets on average 10 to 20 years in prison? Robbery. Robbery, what do you call it? Aggravated robbery, and also drug related crimes, drugs in the car. So you're talking about 10 to 20 years compared to the guy who's a rapist or a child molester going for very few small sentences. So what's happening is, I call them poor man crimes. You have some kid who's 18 making a poor man's decision, an unfortunate decision, and then he's going to come out at 38. What are we going to do with him? Are we training him? Are we getting him prepared for life as honestly a 40-year-old plus man in our society? This is something we have to address. And so even though Kanye West talked about prison reform, I needed Kanye West to be more medicated before he got up on stage.
Yeah. Let me just add this too. in California at San Quentin Prison, which is right next to San Francisco, North Bay. Do you know that they are training a lot of brothers that are in prison? They're going
firefighters.
Firefighters, but listen what they're also doing, sister. They're teaching them coding. So
Yeah.
they can literally get out of prison and create their own jobs because they're learning computer coding.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's another thing that's happening in the prison system here in California. And so they're going to have opportunities. Okay. Yep. Now we know that people get out of prison and sometimes they're not getting hired. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to be doing a video because I have a whole database of actual job opportunities coming out of prison that specifically will hire individuals who have a felony, but that can hopefully, like you're talking about, eventually turn themselves into creating their own business too as well. I know you have a lot of brothers that have gone into trucking, that have come out of prison, that are doing trucking as an alternative, moving businesses and things of that nature. Interesting.
So usually what my focus on my channel is not missing the next opportunity. So many people go, well, if I had invested in Apple, if I had did this, or I'd went to school to be an engineer. Okay, what can we do now to take you on the next direction, right? And so there's a great guy, Cam, he's in the comment section. He talks about Salesforce training certification. I mean, they can't even get enough people here, right? I'm in Austin, Texas, and they literally are giving at the community college free network administration, free, like several things that are tech related. They're offering the classes free. And when I talk to Black students, hey, are you going to do that? Are you going to do that? I don't know. I don't really like that. And it's like, you're missing an opportunity to make $50,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year because it's not promoted in our communities. One thing that's really popular, I want everybody to look up on their own time, is cybersecurity. What is cybersecurity? Cybersecurity is when you go on your banks and you log in and your passwords get messed up. There's someone, we're calling an imaginary guard, guarding the passwords, guarding the transactions, guarding and protecting banks, Target. You ever see all these breaches they're having where people are getting hackers or just hacking? Cybersecurity is something you take at community college, and they will train you more on the job, and you'll make $80,000 a year entry level. Cybersecurity is going to be one of the biggest industries out there because what's going to happen is everything's going digital. So many people are trying to buy stuff online, different portals. You have so many banks. The hacking is going to get unreal, but the cybersecurity jobs are going to be 10x. And that's where I want a lot of African-American young people to go. I'm meeting countless African-American people here in Austin, Texas, who are like the invisible man. When we're out there, hey, I work at ENA Sports. Hey, I work in tech. And it's almost like no one sees them. And they're here. They're everywhere. Wow. And I think it's important for people, women too. Now, I don't want to discount it, women, but what I was talking about on the show the other day, I was telling Obsidian, 99% of people meet their spouse via friends or work-related situations. Not right. They shouldn't meet them at work, but they sometimes meet them in, associations or different things. So if you're looking for well-to-do African-American men, well-to-do people, if you're a woman or a man, that should be where you want to be. You want to be in tech jobs. You want to be in the tech sector. You're going to rub elbows with people who are going to be doing investments. So that's one part of it.
Okay. Let me, Lions Den, can you give a little love for folks that are in the chat rooms that have come into the chat room? And if you have any question you want to ask the sister, definitely go ahead and ask questions, brother.
All right. I'm gonna would like to send a shout out to Kendra Azevedo. Like also send a shout out to Life Machine Power, Reg the Bad Guy, Andre Hatchett, Vonda Harris, Cam, Chica Photo, King Kryptonite, let's see, and Mentor Shelley. Miss Williams, yes. I know you graduated from college from East Carolina University, which is in Greenville, North Carolina. What is your major there?
So I double majored. It was sociology. And then when I realized you need to make money in this world, I took a business degree with a specialization in a new program they had, which was entrepreneurship. But the best thing that came out of that is I had a teacher who he was like, hey, if you go to my other class, my other economics class, my special class, I'll teach all of y'all how to invest in stocks. I'll teach all y'all how to buy a house. I'll do whatever I want because it's my class. I do what I want. And now, as a result of this, I did lose $4,000 in penny stocks, but I did learn, I made much more than that on the back end, so I can't even complain. And there were several students from my hometown who, let's just be honest, one was a half black girl, one was a white girl, and their parents were kind of trailer park trash. I'm just saying further crudely. And they learned from that class how to buy their first home. So the two girls went in together. They were waitressing every weekend. They couldn't go home. Parents didn't really have money like that. And they bought a duplex in the college town for maybe $35,000. And literally one of their parents came and cleaned it up on the weekend, did the work for it. And just like that, I was telling people, a lot of parents, a lot of people don't understand. They're complaining about millennials coming back home. But the best thing you can do, if your parents don't have $2,000 or $3,000 to push you out into a townhouse or a small condo coming right out of college, I think that's where the trajectory goes bad, right? Because a lot of the black people I know out of college, they went to Raleigh. My mom tried to convince me, hey, there's all these brand new townhouses for $55K. Your mortgage is going to be $321. But if you get an apartment, your apartment's going to be $1,000 a month. You're already saving money and you can rent a room out to a friend. And what I think a lot of people in the African American community think, well, do it yourself. You're on your own. And they're missing out the fact that if they could just give their kid $2,000 to $3,000 for closing costs, that kid could be on their way to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Now you saying that, and I know, what makes you decide to become a real estate investor?
You know, there's 3 ways in America to make wealth, and it's historically proven, and it's still to this day. It's real estate, stocks, and businesses. No matter where you get around, if you look at multimillionaires, they all have like close, if not close enough, their portfolio in real estate is 80% of their wealth. You have Bill Gates and Oprah who made all this money through one way, but if you actually pull back the curtain on Oprah, Oprah owns real estate all across the United States, up and down the I-35 corridor, you know, all over. You know, Oprah owns a ton of real estate in Chicago and other areas. People don't understand Oprah isn't just making money off these shows. They're like, oh, Oprah shows and these investments. No, Oprah has a ton of real estate that makes money. Bill Gates has a ton of real estate that makes money. At the end of the day, real estate is something that is a wealth preserver. Hence why you see 40% home ownership in the black community is so devastating, because when gentrification happens, we don't own anything, right? If you're renting, now the rent's going up and you're being pushed out. And so when I hear black people in California complain about prices, I go, well, you knew this was coming. You got 2 choices: get a higher paying job, more skills, or 2, own something. I mean, so that's my big thing about real estate. I feel like if you don't own real estate by the time you're 50, and you may say, well, I'm in New York, I'm in Smithsonian part of California, you don't have to own where you live. You can own in another state. You can own online. You can partner with people. There's a lot of other ways to make money. And for people to try to say, well, I don't want to own real estate, I just want to invest in stocks. Well, let's really put some math on that. Are you going to save up $3 million? Can't save yourself to save your way to wealth. You know, this recession is going to show people that you need active income and investments to make it. So.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Sister Williams, let me ask you a few questions that I have here.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things that you're talking about. Now, I heard you on one of your videos speak to this issue around the home. Homes is, you said that your home is not a credit card.
It's not a credit card.
Income blacks struggle. The question is, are black people struggling as it relates to the home market? Are we doing something wrong? And because we've been taught the American dream that you go to school, you get an education, you pay your taxes, you buy a home, you're going to get equity, and out of equity, your wealth is in your home, and that's how you develop your wealth, right? In your home. What do you say about this?
So what I'm seeing is a lot of African Americans are like, I read Robert Kiyosaki, you know, and he told me your home's a liability. And what I laugh about that, or they're watching Grant Cardone, and Grant Cardone's telling them their home is not an asset. Now, if you live in a community where rent is going from $1,000 to $2,000 a month, and you're on average, if you're doing across the averages of African Americans, you're making $38,000 a year, $1,000 to $2,000 a month is taking you out, buddy. It's taking you out. Now, comparison, if your parents or if you and a sibling owned a home and can rent the other rooms out to each other or to other people, you are in a better position. Now, a lot of times people say from the numbers, what you're talking about is, well, our houses aren't appreciating like everybody's houses are appreciating. And with that conversation, I always go, your home is not a credit card. They did an interview on this guy, and he had a Cadillac Escalade behind him. He's sitting on the porch with his wife beater on, and he's like, oh, you know, my house is underwater. Now, I saw this house, and I knew this house was $40,000 house in Georgia before they even told me the price. So not only did he get the house for $40K, which was reasonable, his mortgage was $300. Then he took a cash out refinance on his house when the market said the house was worth $80K.
Oh, wow.
All right. So now what did he do? He just doubled his mortgage payment. Then he took another cash out. So this house that was originally $40,000 10 years previously was now had a mortgage of $120,000 on it. And he was sitting there with this sad face on his porch, talking about how they took advantage of him. And when the lady asked him, what happened to the well, if you do the minus 120 from 40, what happened to the $80,000 in cash you took out of your home? He had nothing to show for it. He had nothing to show for it. You cannot play the your house is a credit card game. White people cannot even play the house is a credit card game anymore. Up to debt their eyeballs. There's a commercial, I don't know if you remember it, where it was a white guy on a lawnmower, and he was like, they were like, look at Bob's house, look at Bob's this, look at all that. And the first thing he said was, I'm in debt up to my eyeballs. And that commercial was a blockbuster, and it was hilarious because that's really what's going on. There's people using their home like a credit card. And if that black man told me, hey, Eric, I took the $80,000 out of here and I bought 2 more $40,000 homes in this neighborhood,
yes,
I would have been like, okay, brother, that makes sense. And I actually know a military black man who did that very thing as they started to say, homes have all this money. And they went and purchased up everything in their neighborhood. It's a very simple technique. I mean, if you actually go back and read some previous books in the 1960s, the reason black people were kind of so scared of insurance companies, a lot of times when they paid off their home in the 1960s, they would buy another home and rent that home out. There's a lot of books. If I can get a collection together, I'm going to do a whole video series about it, how there were several African Americans who that's how they retired. Okay. You know, they had the burning mortgage parties.
Let me stop you right there, because I'm gonna say something related to what you're talking about, because I heard you say it. Let me, for 1 minute, let me give some peace and love to the brother, that guy from Texas. Thank you for the super chat, brother. And this is the announcement for everybody. Make sure you listen up here.
Hey, everybody. You're listening to Sister Ericka Williams, breaking it down. Business, motivation, real estate, investment, black business. Make sure you check out her YouTube channel and subscribe. Thank you.
Okay. I want everybody that's in the chat room, thank you for being here. This is a very important program we're having. This has got to be one of my best, most comprehensive programs, led by someone that knows what the hell she's talking about. You made a statement in one of your videos that I was looking at where you said that a lot of times when we decide to invest in buying homes, we're always looking at, oh, I got to live in it. But I think you were saying that you can buy property that you don't necessarily have to live in, with the intent to rent that property and make it make money and work for you. What do you say about that?
Okay, so prime example, I was going to mention Kareem Baldwin. He's a mortgage broker out of New York. Used to do all 50 states. I think he does less states now. And the first thing it happens, if you talk to a lot of black mortgage brokers, they are approving black people left and right based off income. But here is the problem. They're approving them usually for, let's be honest, 120 to 180K homes. Now, depending on where you live, some of y'all are in New York, some of you are in California, that doesn't buy you what you want. But I can tell you right now from personal experience and actually talking to other mortgage brokers here, a lot of white kids, when they get those low amounts, that first low amount for that property, what do? They go buy a townhouse, they go buy a condo, they move out further, USDA loan. I've actually seen this here in Texas. I'm going to give you guys a story in a second. Okay. And then in a year, which is usually the time frame, you wait 12 months, you can move to a next home and use different home mortgage buying programs. And so some people are actually using USDA loans, no money down, no money at closing, stay there a year, and then move back into the city. I've actually seen that here in Austin, Texas, you guys, with my own eyes. I know 2 and 3 guys booking up together to buy one house, because here's what happens. When you get on a lot of these mortgage companies, they look at a lot of African Americans when they're ready to buy. And I've had this whole theory, but I'm backing it up with information, that African Americans are usually on a trajectory 10 years behind our counterparts, right? So on average, African American women's first marriage is 32 to 35. On average, our first home buying experience is around 36, when for whites it's usually 26. Now, what happens in that time frame? When they pull up to that mortgage broker's office, they've already bought the big car. So, and studies have proven they will walk away from a house before they walk away from the big car.
Wow.
And one of our friends said he is a millionaire now. He's in Dallas, Texas, but he said at the time he let his house go, but he kept the Benz, took the Benz onto the apartment, and took his stuff on out the house. I mean, this is a real thing.
Was he expecting to live in his car? I mean,
he just thought he'd start over. He was like, I see so many other people, bankrupting and starting over, and that is a mindset people have. Well, I'll just start over. And it's something that can ding your credit for years. And I think people I don't know what's going on in the mindset, but if you look at Dave Ramsey program, on average, it takes about people 12 to 18 months to get completely debt free. And I think it's because of focus. Where your focus is, your success is. And so that's why sometimes when I'm on O'Shea channel, I'm like, look, I'm joking with you guys, the big booty leases and all this other stuff. But if you focus your whole 20s on big booty leases and vacations, you'll wake up in your 30s and go, what the heck happened? And I remember one of the guys that came on a show said he just didn't understand. He was on Todd Millionaire podcast, and he was talking about buying a home. And there were older African Americans who could not even have the conversation with him. They were like, oh, I've never bought a home. I don't know. And he was telling his friends, and they're like, oh, don't buy a house. So here's this young man wanting to buy a house at 25, and all his friends and his family cannot help him. Everybody around him is telling him, don't do it. How do you think that happens? That happens because none of those people are taking action. None of those people are taking action. And so I think low home ownership is not just a financial thing. It is when I talk to a lot of mortgage brokers, it's like, oh, the house I wanted was $400,000. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the money you have is a starter money home, right? And no one does starter homes anymore. They wait so long that they're like, if I'm going to buy this house, it's got to be the top of the market. It's got to be the best. And if you keep doing that, you're gonna be. I'll put it this way: as a person who took an internship with Edward Jones, you do not want to be buying your biggest, giantest house at 40 and 45. Which is something that a lot of African American men are doing, buying the absolute biggest house they're going to buy in their lifetime at 40, 45. What's happening to your counterparts around 55? They're downsizing. They're buying a smaller house. The kids are out. They don't need that house no more. They take the money from that home sale and put it into their lower home and put that money to rev up their entire retirement investments. So we're doing it backwards. We're starting later. We're starting around 36. And then on top of that, we're getting the biggest house we can get when we do get it. So we don't have anything to back up. We just have the big house. So there's a lot of numbers to prove up what I'm saying. And anytime you want me to come on, I can bring more data. But the number one difference in that is real estate investors. The number one time real estate investors start is 35 to 55. 35 to 55.
Let me ask you this. This is the question I have. Mm-hmm. We talk a lot of times. You hear Black people say, we don't have generational wealth. There are rich people, and then there's people that are wealthy, and it's two different things, right? I heard someone recently say this is one of the differences. People that are rich wake up every day trying to make more money, and people that are truly wealthy, their money works for them. Mm-hmm. And we always talk about, well, look at the white folks. They have money to hand down to their kids. You got a guy like Mark Zuckerberg who owns a Facebook, and you've got some of these white boys who come from families where they got an uncle, a father, a grandfather who gives them some seed money, right? Mm-hmm. Because they might have done the things that you're talking about. They might have started off investing in homes, and creating businesses. making real estate, making businesses work for them. Is this one of the problems that Black people have? That is this one of the things that could help us create, even now, generational wealth for our children into the future? If we could just understand the concept of buying real estate, renting it, making our money work for us, understand the concept of letting the dollar circulate through the Black community is one, because we know it does not circulate in the Black community. It gets out of the Black community very quickly, and we spend every damn thing as soon as we get every damn thing. What are your thoughts on what I've said or what
So I have two things to challenge that notion. When they did a study, on average, no matter how much it was, if it was millions of dollars or a few $1,000s, the average person spent up their inheritance in 9 months.
In 9 months.
No matter if they were millions of dollars or they were less, on average, it was out the door. Now, here's the difference. The guy with the millions might have invested in some more different things, but technically the pot was drained, right? Now, on the second hand, I dare say there are a lot of African Americans who are inheriting what? Homes, but homes they don't want. Number one problem we're having is, well, mama didn't leave a will, so now you got 5 siblings fighting over one house. Prime example, here in Austin, Texas, there was a family I was consulting with. Now, they had 5 grown adults. They were all married. They all lived in Houston. Mom is 95 years old. Dad's paid off the house before dad ever died. So the house is free and clear, but it had $100,000 in back taxes on it. But guess how much the house was worth in Austin? Take a guess.
Well, let's see, 100,000
in back taxes. How much was it worth?
In back taxes?
It had 100,000 in back taxes. So take a guess how much it was worth.
$100,000 in back taxes. What do you think, Alliance? Then
I should say in back taxes. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not good. I'm not good at math at all. But I should say about 90,000 at least.
No, the house was worth $500,000. Austin's first, but between the 5 grown adult children, no one could agree on how to pay the back taxes so that they could turn around and sell that house.
So if they could have figured out a strategy to pay the back taxes, they could have turned around and flipped that house for more than what they had to pay the taxes.
And they all could have walked away.
Wow.
Very, very, all could have walked away happy. So
it could have taken that money and invested it, of course, in legitimate enterprises.
Yep. And so here's my thing. 5 grown adults didn't have $20K a piece to pay down these taxes for mama who's 95 years old. That is the problem. There was no savings. Another example, I'm going to give you another example. In Houston, the problem they're having on TV right now is they're literally saying on TV, please don't sell your home for $30K. And I was like, what is this about? They're going downtown Houston to African Americans who have paid free, cleared off houses that are worth $200,000, $300,000, and offering them $30,000. Why?
Wow.
Because people want the cash so bad and they're like, well, I don't have any money to fix the houses. I had no money to fix the house. That's the number one thing I hear. So African Americans really have to stop this narrative that we have no generational wealth. People are handing you houses. I see story after story. I can pull out at least 12 news articles. Another example, Clemson, South Carolina. Do you know where Clemson, the football team? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Yes. So now the Clemson football team does better and better. Guess what's happening? Just like Waco, that's going to be my second example. The Black people that are around the university, that's usually where the poorer homes are, those houses have been free and clear for years. And a lot of people have inherited the homes. They had person after person standing in front of the camera saying, you know, the taxes is going up. They talked to this one person and look behind her. The blinds all raggedy, yards all overgrown, trash everywhere. When did you inherit this house? 13 years ago. Have you ever paid the mortgage? No, it didn't have any mortgage. It was free and clear. But she was crying about property taxes on a freaking paid off house that she's been living in for 13 years. And she's saying, well, I might have to sell it. Sell it for 60 grand. And she's missing the whole money opportunity. Same thing with Waco, Texas. The poor Black people lived around Waco and they had these homes, paid off homes, but they were built in the 1930s. Beautiful, elegant. If you've been seeing Flip This House with the what is that family called? Anybody know what I'm talking about? The Asian woman, white man that's been popular on HGTV. Long story short, they're buying those homes off those people for 20, 30K. Turning around, painting them, cleaning them up, selling for $150,000 over there by Waco.
let me
Wow.
let me give you an illustration, sister. In San Francisco, in areas of San Francisco where you have had historically a large population of African Americans, such as the Hunters Points area of San Francisco, Potrero Hill, the Fillmore area, and even Oakland, because Oakland has decreased at about 25% in terms of its Black population. People are moving further and further away from San Francisco because it's just so expensive to live there. But in these areas like Hunters Point, do you know that there are Black people, grandmothers, great-grandparents, who live in very beautiful Victorian-type homes, or very beautiful flats, as we call them in San Francisco? And what happens is you get these contractors who come in who want to gentrify the community. And what they do is they give these people, they give our people in these communities low bids. They lowball them.
Yep.
Right? Giving them below the value of what the home is really worth.
Wholesaling. Yeah.
Wholesaling. And then they have family members, unfortunately, who don't know what the hell they're doing, letting their grandmothers, grandfathers, and family members sell these homes that should stay in the family to build wealth, to sell. If you're going to sell it, like you said, sell it at its true market value. But the problem sometimes, and I hate to say this, is that sometimes when you have Black people, when you have some Black people who have not had a lot of money, and someone throws a lot of money at us, just like people signing record contracts and getting ripped off, we jump at the first deal that we see, in some, not in all cases, and then you find out later on, goddamn, that's $1 million home.
Yeah.
House is really worth $1 million, but they're not telling the elderly or the older people who still own these homes, and their families are not being educated to this, in some cases, not in all. And so sometimes when we see communities that are being gentrified, it's not only because Black people are being pushed out because we can't afford to live there, but I have seen myself living in the Bay Area in San Francisco that you've had Black people that sold their homes prematurely.
For nothing.
Which meant if they would have kept their homes, do you know that their homes, especially in San Francisco, would have ballooned even further, because when they gentrify and they start putting in restaurants, fixing this up, you got the ballpark, the Giants play in the ballpark in that area of San Francisco. That was a slum area. China Basin was a slum area of San Francisco. Now the property values have gone skyrocket. And if you own a piece of property there, your property is going to skyrocket. I don't think that sometimes a lot of our people understand that if we keep that property in a community that's going to be gentrified in terms of it's going to go up, which is going to make the value of your place go up. Do we really understand that, or are we at sleep at the wheel with that?
I think we are a reactive people, not a proactive people. I'm here in Austin, Texas, and they'll knock on doors for weeks. Hey, ma'am, do you want to sell your home? No, I know my home's worth $300,000. And when you actually get down to the bottom of it, the lady will go, even if I sell this home with a realtor and get all $300,000, where am I going to go in Austin, Texas? I'm going to have to move all the way to the country to even enjoy this $300,000. And that's the sad part. When people are in Houston getting this 30, 40K, you would think 30, 40K is $1 million. It's not $1 million. I mean, you would be better off taking care of that home, the repairs on that home, and renting it out. Now, here's part of what I think is the problem. Now, in Houston and in Dallas, I see a lot of older Black men who still own these homes, and they do a little handyman work. I think you have a lack of Black men who are doing handyman work, and some of these women are not married. So as you get to grandma's age, okay, she ain't got no man to fix it. Her grandsons don't know how to fix stuff around the house. So now we're at a point where we're not able to fix the house. The taxes are going up, and 40K sounds like a win, right? And that's unfortunate. So,
wow.
Somebody's in the comment section. They used to live near Waco, Texas. They know what I'm talking about. They know exactly what I'm talking about. Right now in Philadelphia, there's a stockbroker named Aisha. If you ever get a chance to talk to her, she's buying up homes. At one point, she was buying homes in Philly for $15,000. And people were like, ugh, why are you buying over there? Other Black people. Now those same homes she owns in Philly are worth almost $1 million. And this is not that long ago. This is like less than 10 years ago. So, I mean, again, you know, when people say, oh, they're pushing us out of our neighborhoods, I don't know if you got to see my video information, man. It would have been one you'd probably have liked. It was a national white supremacist group Guess how they were funding their operations?
Uh-oh.
They owned multiple homes in a Black community in Atlanta. And it was like they had lawyers, they had all kind of people in this organization. And I'm like, Black people in Atlanta, where are you?
Are you serious?
Yeah. And when they
Wow.
found out, I mean, there was one lady living there. When they found out, she found out a racist owned her home. She was like, well, you know, I've been renting here for 3 years.
That's kind of embarrassing to a certain degree, don't you?
Yeah. I mean,
Very
it's actually quite sad.
Yeah.
And they basically control this one neighborhood. They keep buying up properties in this one neighborhood. So, and I'm like, you know, this is the part, you know, this is the part where I keep asking people, you know, instead of saying, hey, we're old reparations and Black people are doing so bad, I keep seeing Black people living their best life on the gram, living their best life on Facebook. And when I sit here and say, listen, if you got $10,000 to $15,000, you can go get you a semi truck and have that truck making $3 grand plus a week for you. You don't even have to be the driver. Hood Estates talk about that. When I talk about, hey, let's partner up and buy up, you know, $10,000 houses in Detroit. Now, what people think about Detroit is, oh, it's bombed out. There are quality houses that are actually fully functioning and renting out for $800 a month, no problem, for $25K and $40K. There's other cities I can name. I mean, you name it, any city you live in, if you guys put it in the comment section, I probably could tell you to go an hour out and you are going to find homes for under 100,000. Now, even if you're in California, we're going to have to push you out probably towards what, Stockton or something. We're going to push you further out.
What happens is, let me tell you how it works. People when you live in San Francisco, you'll be pushed out to the East Bay. No, for example, I'll give you an example. In 1997, I moved over to Oakland, California when I was married. Lived in a nice little apartment right near the Lake Merritt area of Oakland. I could literally walk to the lake 2 blocks up from my house. Guess how much my rent was in 1997 in Oakland? This is the Oakland that white people did not want to live in. They wanted to stay as far away as possible in 97 and even before 97.
800?
I paid $600.
Wow.
For a nice, it was a 1-bedroom at the time. Nice place, very convenient to all transportation. And that damn apartment today, because now Oakland is becoming gentrified. The lake is very popular. White folks are moving in. People from San Francisco are moving over because it's too expensive to live in San Francisco. The weather is better in the Oakland area. Don't believe what they tell you, folks.
I'll give you a little thing about Oakland. I don't want to cut you off. I didn't mean to.
Go ahead. Go ahead. This is your show.
I know 25 Black YouTubers moving there. So I will be visiting Oakland several times next year with my camera guy.
Okay.
There's something going on. I can't say much about it right now, but there's several Black YouTubers moving to Oakland, and it's coming up. So you guys should pay attention to that. So
yeah. I mean, it's almost like, you know, when you had a movement of Black people moving to what was that, Brooklyn, Harlem, and even though these places are being gentrified as well, but there's something about Oakland. I lived there for about 10 years myself personally. It has energy. It's buzzing. Don't believe what you hear, folks, about the negativity that you hear. I live there. There are areas that are rough, but there are other beautiful areas. And we're going to talk more about that when I have my man AM1 on Friday night when he comes on board. But Lions Den, do you have any questions you want to add, brother?
Well, I think that's Lions Den. Is that you, Lions Den, in the comment section saying about how about Nashville and Brentwood, Tennessee?
Go right ahead.
Yeah.
I'll give you this. Go an hour outside there or even go to Chattanooga. Now, this is what I'll tell you about Chattanooga. I went to a conference, and I won't tell you Gary Vee was there, but Gary Vee and them already are investing in Chattanooga with startups. If you go look at the community development on the city's website page, you will find that they are getting ready to develop by that bridge. And guess where by that bridge on the other side, there's Black communities. And if those Black people don't pay attention in Chattanooga, they're going to be out of a home. And now it's going to be $1 million area. People who watch my channel, they know I've talked about Chattanooga several times. When you have companies like Gary Vee and 10 other startups going there, I'll just say this. I was at a conference, and a lot of companies are like, how can we protect ourselves from the craziness of California? And there were 5 states they named off, 5 cities. It actually was 7, but Raleigh, North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, Marietta, Georgia, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Austin, Texas, and they also named a city next to Nashville. those people are going to be planting companies there because it's going to be easier on their financial tax burden. Now, if you go look at Chattanooga right now, I'll tell you right now, there'll be black people in the comments. Well, you know, Chattanooga isn't exciting. I don't know. And I'm like, tell me where you're going to get that same price house in Nashville. You're not. Nashville's cooling off. But for Nashville to be 27%, it used to be 35% black, and you guys aren't owning those areas like you used to, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Sister, let me ask you this question. There's someone in the chat by the name of Patrick. Says it was about taking out loan on your home to repair stuff to improve your home. He says you can take out an equity loan on the homes if you don't have money to repair the home. That's what people are crazy selling their homes for that cheap. What do you think about the equity loans?
Well, first, you're going to have some black people who, one, are underbanked. They don't want to go to the bank. They're scared of the banks. Also, two, some people are retired. So some of those mortgages, even though they're based on an equity loan, they might be a little bit lower than they need to completely fix it. But here's what I'm seeing. When I go, my friend that wholesales, they're going to a house where something broke, ain't been fixed in 5 years. Something broke over in this room. Something broke over here. And it's the combination of not caring for the house long term that has added up to them wanting to move. They just want to start fresh. They don't want to deal with the problems. But yes, I think more young people should be making sure their grandma knows, hey, grandma, there's a million different banks you can get funding from. Like, I want to put together this funding book, but by the time I finished working on it, information man, I was so tired. I was like, there's no way I wouldn't sell this thing for $1,000. And so I might not put it out, but I literally personally went through trying to get funding, and I'm a tenacious person. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep trying, period. So I can imagine people who aren't as hungry as me, what they would not, well, I got turned down twice. That's enough. Nah, I'm going to call 100 banks. You're going to talk to me, and there's ways to go about it, which we've talked about. So Marietta, Georgia. Yeah, listen, there's an article, blow your mind. It's talking about the white people moving away from the Asians in Georgia. So Marietta, Georgia, remember the tech companies I said was moving there? Thousands of tech companies moved there in Marietta, Georgia. And they wanted their town beside that place. And when the Asians and Filipinos and Japanese and Indian was a dot, people start coming and changing the plazas to these really delicious foods. The white people started saying, well, the school's unfair now. This isn't the real world. They're on record in this article saying, well, this isn't the real world. I want my kid to be a part of the real world. And the saddest part is that is the real world. Being in tech is going to be heavily Asian, heavily white. Like, you're going to need to have your kids compete. And when people talk about white people not competing, that's part of what they're talking about. They're moving across the railroad tracks to a smaller town to move away from the Asian and Filipino people because they're saying the math is unfair now. The classes are unfair. You know, they got to make it look more like the real world for their kid. And honestly, I tell people what happens in high school is, if you notice a lot of Asian kids, if they're near around black kids, higher percentages of marrying interracially with black people. If you notice, if you have Asian kids and your white kids, higher numbers of interracially marrying with those white kids. It's your environment, silly. That's why when people that's like, oh, it doesn't matter what school your kids go to. It does matter because it shapes who they think is attractive, what they think is normal in life. People on the channel heard me say I have a lot of Korean friends, half Korean military kids, you know, and their moms would show me how to do a lot of this credit card stuff. They showed me how to do this credit card stuff. They showed me how having a flea market business, they made all this money, and people were shocked. They're like, Ericka, how do you know this? I'm like, all 7 of the Korean friends that I went to high school with, their mothers put them on as authorized users. And when we were in college together, East Carolina University, they were sitting there and getting offers in the mail left and right, and they could not understand why. Many people would be like, why are they getting all these offers, Ericka? And it was because their mom put them on as authorized user and had built their credit up, and they didn't even know it. And so one of our friends, I'm not going to call him a lazy guy, but he likes to play video games and go on eBay and sell things. He's had a storefront in my hometown for the past 5 years. Now, what's in front of the store? Not many people go into the store, but in the back, he's always shipping, boxing and shipping, selling things. And where did that come from? That ability to have that one credit card that allowed him to have, you know, some money to play with, a storefront, and that's his job. So I think a lot of times black people are overcomplicating the amount of money it takes to start a business, the amount of money to keep a business going. And in those arenas. But go ahead. I can be long-winded. I can be Edward.
Hey,
Edward long-winded here.
Lions, then you have any question you want to ask? Because I want to.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead, Lions. Then.
I was gonna ask the sister. How long did you become a real estate investor in the Austin area?
So Austin, Texas is absolutely too crazy expensive that most people that are here, they don't even invest here. They actually invest elsewhere. An hour plus, Salado, Kyle, Buing, Lulling, Lockhart. They go outside this place a good hour. Or they develop. So prime example, when I was in Georgetown, Texas, where I was managing that apartment complex, there was a guy, he had bought this street. Now, it wasn't a street yet. It was just a field. And I was like, why'd he buy that? It's been on for sale for a while. And slowly but surely, it created a street. And then the contractors came and built the first duplex. And then as the people moved in the first duplex, he built the second duplex, then the third. So on this one little slot of land, this guy became a developer. Now, if you guys, I don't know who you are, I'm going to be in Dallas this weekend with Andre Hatchett and them, and Scotty C. Smith. You can look him up on Instagram. He's buying land lots from the Dallas Land Bank for $1,000, partnering with the builder. You know, printing out the you ever see houseplans.com? Any of y'all can go on there. Anybody, it's free. Houseplans.com. You can print out your house plan, take it to the bank, and actually don't even have to take it to the bank. The developer can take it to the bank, the contractor that's building the home, and then when it's time to sell, you guys split it 50-50, which usually it's more like 70-30, because you just own the land. And that is the game of development. Most people aren't even coming out of their pocket. It's the builder that's coming out of their pocket. So again, there's so many ways to win, but that's the game of the game here. Lions Den is technically, if you own the land, you find a builder who will build, and that basically saves you from coming out of your pocket. So
what advice would you give for those who want to become a successful real estate investor?
It depends. So I always tell you, there's three things you need. You need to figure out where you are in the spectrum: time, cash, or credit. Now, many people are going to hear you say, well, that's too many things. They're different. Time, cash, credit. Now, if you've got the credit and somebody else has cash, which we always have sometimes we have family members that have cash. I'm not saying where they got it from, but sometimes they got cash and they need to buy something, invest something, but they don't have the 1099s. They don't have the tax documentation. You guys can partner together. Okay. That's one way. Now, two, time. A lot of people say, well, Eric, I got time. Well, so do a lot of people. You got to bring to me more than just your time. Everyone wants someone who put skin in the game, even if it's $1,000. Hence, that's why when you have these developers come with these people who own the land, well, dang, at least they own the land. And I built this house for maybe $80,000 supplies and materials. Turn around and sell it in South Dallas for $180,000. Now we've got $100,000, and I'm probably going to 70-30 split with the person who owns the land. You got 30, 40, 50K for doing what? Nothing. Letting them build a house on that land lot. So what happens is people are underestimating where they can come in at, right? So you just need to be able to make self-assessment. Are you cash? Are you time? Are you credit?
Got it.
Let me read. We have a Sister Harris, in the chat room. She says, I read about a couple who brought a street in a very affluent area in San Francisco. Brought a street.
Yep, they sure did. I saw that on news.
And they charge residents a fee to park on the streets. Great investment. You're damn right, it's a great investment. I lived here for many years, damn near 30 years. And the thing about San Francisco is hard to find parking. And when you do find parking, you're going to pay for it. That is incredible. Their money is going to make money for them.
Well, here's the funny part about it. They're an Asian couple in that neighborhood. It's only like 12 houses. It's a circular street. Yeah. I know what they're talking about. Asians used to not be welcome in that part of town. So the joke is almost, they're changing the name of the street to an Asian name too at that. So I was like, it's a joke on top of a joke. You know, don't ask people to respect you. And that's the problem I say African Americans have. We want people to like us. I don't need you to like me. I need you to respect me. So, and here in Dallas, especially Texas, I always tell people Chicago and Houston's numbers are close. And what happens is a lot of white people say, well, Houston's ghetto. I don't want to be in Houston. And I go, well, the first thing I see about Houston is a lot of black people are on their business. They own businesses down there. They carry guns on the hip. They don't play. So I think, you know, it speaks to some of the funniness I hear about Texans complaining about Houston, because I go, well, 2/3 of this city, the state's population live there. They're very brown, and that's the future of America. So I don't know why you don't like Houston.
Okay, let me stop for a quick little commercial break or little introduction here. Look, everybody, you getting taken to class tonight. Get your butt in this class. She's taking you to class. I want to thank everybody out there that's been listening. Let me hit you with a little bit of this.
This is Information Man. I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank everyone in the chat room. I want to thank everyone that's listening to the program, watching the program, but may not be in the chat room. I want to say to you, without your support, I can't do what it is that I do. And without us working together, we can't do what it is that we're doing right now. So I want to thank you for that support. I would like to say to everyone out there, if you have not subscribed to the program, go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell for notification, and most importantly, hit the likes. And if you have social media, share the video if you like the video in your own social media so that we can support the show. I do the same thing with other people's shows. I always put what they're doing in my social media. So thank you, everybody. And once again, we do what we do. This is the Information Man. I want to give a shout out to everybody out there listening in Facebook Live, Instagram, and especially my podcasting network, Speaker.com. For those of you who have been supporting me in Speaker, Facebook Live, I want to thank you for your support. Thank you for watching, for listening. I can't do what I do without your support. Thank you.
Explosive information tonight, folks. Very explosive, very necessary. Very, very necessary. Sister Williams, Miss Williams, Sister Williams, you're something else. I gotta ask you this.
Sure, go ahead.
I was trolling your videos.
That's okay. I like the trolls. I love it.
And well, I was listening, you know, and you said that having your money in different banks, specifically small banks, are a very good strategy, because you may, a lot of times, this is the classic thing that we hear from black people. I can't open up a business because they won't give me a damn loan at the bank. However, a lot of times when we go to these large banks that may give us a loan, we shouldn't sleep on these small banks. I want you to explain to everybody out there listening the advantage of opening up multiple accounts or a variety of accounts in small banks. What is the advantage of that? If what I'm saying is correct.
Okay, so right now there's 1,200 small business banks across America, and that's banks and credit unions. So when people say, I can't find a bank, no bank will take me, that's untrue. You just have not tried. And there's a whole system I could give you, but you definitely need to come to the channel and watch me talk about it. But essentially, smaller banks, you're going to be able, and these are the banks you're looking for, are banks with 4 branches or less. When you look up in the phone books, when you look up them nationally, you want to have 4 branches or less. Now, I'm in Texas. I'm lucky. There's a lot of options here. There's a thing I teach about called a bank book. Okay, so this is what, see this little notebook right here? So I take this notebook and I put some information in there, and I go up to the bank. I went to 20 banks one time.
Okay.
I was testing out this theory because I went to this seminar. And essentially, every white man that I got to talk to, a lot of them were like, hey, I'm the vice president. Small bank. I'm actually the vice president. I can actually make a decision right now. Would see my information and goes, who taught you that? Who? Now, I didn't have to tell them. I just said, I can't tell you about it. Somebody taught me how to do it. And the bank book came out of a group called Memphis Invest out of Tennessee. Their family has over, I think, over 30 banks and over $100 million in lines of credit. They've got 4 sons. And the technique I teach in my class is a technique they taught me at the seminar when I went. It was a high paid seminar, but it was very worth it. That technique to this day has been useful. Not only has it been useful, if you see Stephen Lau, there's an Asian young man going around promoting, this credit card game. He's got 17 million in lines of credit. He's telling you that some of the same things I'm telling y'all is getting on the phone, calling these banks, because there's people who can do a verbal authorization at these smaller banks. When you take your stuff to a bank, 9 times out of 10, it goes to a committee. It don't even go to that area. It actually goes to a regional committee, and that person makes a decision when it comes to businesses. Now, when you're talking about personal, they're basing off your credit score, information, da-da-da-da-da. When you're talking about business, they're sending that information up. So that's why I would put together the little packet, and I'd say, here, this tablet, this little 1-inch note binder, it's for you to have, and you can pass it on to who you need to. And the man, when I gave it to him, said, information man, he said, I don't know who taught you this, but I'm going to give you my friend's number. Go over there, get a hard money loan from him, and when you come in here, I will refinance any loan you bring to this bank every day after this. So the thing is, it's not that banks aren't giving loans. It's the fact that people are, it's like coming to the nightclub with this hoodie on that I love, stocks investing hoodie, y'all can see it, and sneakers, and going, why are they not letting me in the club? I don't understand. People are coming into environments with the wrong information.
Okay.
So there's a lot of business banks out there, and someone mentioned South Carolina in the comment section. I think it's always a lady, and I'll answer her question in a second. But the fact is, we have to get creative with the financing. A lot of you, if you've been watching my channel, I talk about PayPal. I talk about, in the book I wrote right here, Smartphone Millionaire. In the book, I talk about
millionaire.
I talk about how to invest with people and businesses from the palm of your hand. Not only are those websites good for investing, they're good for taking loans. Fundrise. There's over 50 crowdfunding real estate sites. Lending Club, Prosper, PayPal. If you have an American Express card, they have a side where they do personal loans and business loans with American Express. If you have their credit card, it's one of the best credit cards out there. There are so many alternative funding ways to get money. That's why when people tell me I can't get any money, I really go, I'm hard pressed to believe that. So. Okay.
Wow. That is explosive. Wow. Let me ask you this question. I have a couple questions here that need to be put on the table tonight before we end anything tonight. We got to touch on the issue around secure loans. I love what you said about retirement. Retirement is a number, not an age, as you put it. Yep. You said 10 house rule, 27 times 30,000. Definitely want to hear what that's all about. The whole thing on retirement is not a number. It's a number, but it's not an age. And we are conditioned in this society to focus on retirement around age. You know, we always sort of think, well, when I get this old, this is what I should be doing. And then you also talked about business credit. So those are the areas that we have to touch on. Let me see. You said wealthy people don't use banks, and you made statements about becoming your own banker. Before we end anything tonight, I would like you to touch on those areas that you are most expert about, that I've heard you speak upon, that I learned a lot just listening to you, your delivery and how you present your material. Once again, folks, as I played before, you need to subscribe to this sister's channel, because I think the information that she's giving us is empowering. We always talk about what can Black people do. We always talk about what our problems are. We always talk about things like white supremacy, but it's about damn time that we learn about things that we can use to empower ourselves, because solutions is the only way we're going to break away from some of the social circumstances that we find ourselves in this society. We got to invest. We've got to come together collectively and work together. We got to stop hating on one another. And this is why I had to get her on. This is what I wanted my YouTube channel to really be all about. Information that really empowers people. So, Sister, what areas that I just mentioned would you like to hit on first?
Okay, so let's go with the FIRE movement. Many of you can Google this. It's called the FIRE movement. It's basically financial independence, retirement. It's, long story short, it's early retirement. Now, here's the problem. A lot of people in this early retirement movement, had this ideal, all you got to get to is $1 million or $2 million. And who do they usually target? It's usually 30 to 35-year-old white tech males. And I'll tell you right now, I have some friends who they've been making $150,000 since they left college in engineering. But now they're 30, 31, and they want to do something different, or they want to travel for a few months, or they want to go get married and have a baby. Of course they can. They've had a higher income. Hence why with Cam and several people from my channel, I keep pushing to get into tech. I keep pushing to get into higher income paying jobs. It's not just tech. There's a lot of management jobs out there, sales management jobs that pay this amount. There's a lot of trucking. There's a lot of skilled welding. So it starts with the income first, truly, pushing that income up. Now, secondly, the FIRE movement was a thing of a lot of these guys started investing and realizing, and one of their main popular guys is called Mr. Money Mustache. A lot of people love him. He only has one kid. He's from Canada, but he lives here in Colorado. And when he realized at the end of the day, his wife cooks at home. They have paid off cars. And when they did the math, they really only spent like $30,000 a year. Because here's the key factors, y'all. He owned his home. His wife cooks. They have paid off cars. These three things are valuable, and people really kind of ignore them. They don't think they're valuable. Now, that 30K, when you times it times 27, anybody got the math? Can you do the math for me? I don't want to move my calculator. If you could, information man. 30 times 27, 30,000 times 27. That's the number he likes to use. Anybody in the comment section, anybody can do it. Be nice.
Let me see here.
Because in my phone, I'm using my phone to get the comments. So
let me find my. We'll figure this out.
So long story short, he realized that
30,000
times 27,
$810,000.
Oh, okay.
So look at that. So that's less than that $1 million everybody's been screaming about. Get the $1 million. Get the $1 million. And this is on the 4% draw theory, of course. But what people have to understand is when he realized they only have one kid, they cook dinners at home, they still go on vacations, owning your home in that equation was the most powerful part, is what people don't understand. Thank you so much, everybody who's commenting. And what happens is if you just draw off that for the next 20 years, what's going to happen, of course, over the course of that 20-something years? You're going to buy more assets. You're going to do something. You're not going to just really retire.
You're going to diversify yourself.
Exactly. You know, you're like, well, our basics are covered. So technically, I'm not forced to work at a job I hate. Prime example, there was a woman who watches my channel. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. She worked 18 years for a job she hated. She finally went and bought a condo in Houston. Guess how much her mortgage was? $321. Guess what she did? Quit that job the next month and worked on the business she's been trying to work on for years. Because when you own the home and the mortgage is low enough, you realize I don't need to have to go out here and struggle and fight and do all this craziness if my car's paid off and my mortgage is. Those are the two biggest things that are going to hit people. And that's the part of the FIRE movement. So
let me just say, sister, you dropping a lot of dimes and gems tonight. Let me give a shout out to brother King Nick, who just gave me a super chat. Brother, I appreciate that. Let me give you some love the way I do it here.
Information is power.
That's right. Information is power. We're getting it tonight. Ericka Williams, she's giving us information that is designed to empower us, to free us of our minds and of our financial circumstances. This is powerful. You said in one of your videos, sister, that people were talking about having a second job. And you said when you were in school, you kind of thought about it and you said, you know what, why do I not have a second job? Is having a second job necessary? Is it something that we should consider? I know a lot of times people say, and I think you said this before, oh, having a second job, that's for two people. I'm one person, right? I have to touch on this because I've been trolling your material.
That's okay.
What are your thoughts?
So, you know, you've been hearing all the black people, 2 jobs for 2 people, you know, you shouldn't be killing yourself. But what I've seen, again, I'm referencing back to a lot of data that is provided by Dave Ramsey's staff, by their numbers of hundreds of thousands of people who went to go pay off debt. The fastest way they paid off debt in a year to 18 months. And they've had lots of black people on there, black single men on there too, doing it. The debt scream is people got focus. They put focus to it. Now, prime example, when people have debit cards, they typically spend 10% more than they would. Now, most times what happens, you guys, right? You're going out, You're swiping the card, you're getting dinner, you're treating, you're tipping, you're doing all these things. But when people start actually putting their focus to it and they start adjusting that W-4 to get their taxes back, I'm telling you, people knock out that debt pretty fast. $20,000 loan on average, the average American that's coming out of college has $20,000 in student loan debt. Now, we are hearing numbers of really high, crazy numbers, but the $20K, if you work a part-time job or you have some side hustle and you make $1,000 extra a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're paying on that student loan debt for 12 months, just for 1 year. You're like, just for 1 year. And then you take your refund check in the spring. You're probably going to have anywhere from $5,000 to maybe $6,000 left on that loan. I'm just doing a rough guess here. Wow. But at the end of the day, I've seen so many people who, on average, when they work a part-time job, that part-time job brings $1,500 in. And I've seen countless people on the Dave Ramsey show and blog articles where they took that extra money and paid those student loans off in a year. So many people are like, well, Ericka, they're low interest. They're low interest. You cannot bankrupt out of student loans. You cannot get out of the I can't remember what was the number. 3,000 people applied for student loan forgiveness. 99% were turned down. Let me repeat. Out of the 3,000 people that originally applied for a student loan forgiveness program with Obama, 99% were turned down. So you're asking people to forgive your debt out of a debt that is unbankruptable. You cannot bankrupt out of federal student loan debt. You cannot. So you need to deal with it. You need to confront it. And so that's why I started talking about the extra job. Now, prime example, I worked in retail and food, mostly food. I worked as a pizza delivery person for a while, and I worked as a waitress in college. Something, you're a pretty girl, you can do whatever you want, right? And so I would hear waitresses that were in their 50s, and I thought, why is she still being a waitress? Poor her. And then I would see she had a paid off brand new Honda in the parking lot and the house she went to. Nice house. And everywhere I turned, between the pizza people, which there's a story with that, and the waitress, they would say, if you save $27 a day, in a year, you'll have $10,000 and you can put it on as a down payment for your house. Mm-hmm. And these were white people saying this. And I would tell my black family, my friends, they're like, oh, $27 a day. They act like it was the craziest thing they've ever heard. And now I know there's going to be somebody a stickler for math. They're going to go, well, 27 times 365 is not exactly 10K. But for the sake of argument, that's what I kept hearing. And at the Papa John's where I worked, every man owned his own house there. And I thought, how is this possible? They're pizza delivery guys. Well, the average pizza delivery worker makes $3,000 to $4,000 when they're full time. Mm-hmm. $3,000 actually to $5,000 a month when they're full time. Now, here's the crazy part. A guy who was a mortgage broker who had lost his job was working at the Papa John's for a month or something crazy. And he taught every single person in there, count every single tip you have just for this year. Okay. Count it all. Make a record of it all. And save that $27 a day. So next year, when you want to go get that house, not only do you have the $10,000 for down payment, you got the documentation to prove that you can afford this house. And they're already going further out where USDA loans are. So they're bending over backwards to get you in these homes. So.
Wow. Sister, before I ask you another question, let me give a little love to the Greek surgeon who super chatted me. I really appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. And I just want you to know that those of you who have super chatted me, everything is going to be used to improve the show. It's going to go back into equipment and materials to improve the show. So that's what I'm about. I appreciate it. Let me just ask you this. God, so many things I want to ask you. Let me ask you this. Remember when the bubble blew in this country, especially here in California, the area that I live in, which is close to the Sacramento area, got hit very hard. I think Las Vegas, Nevada got hit very hard as well. When it comes to these, predatory lenders, I think Wells Fargo's was one of the ones that was named in this. What are the banks, from your your experience, your know-how, who do you want to kind of stay away from? Who are the pirates out there? Who are the who are the ones you better watch out for?
Well, I mean, for me, I don't understand how Black and Hispanic people still go with Wells Fargo. They've been repeatedly found in court liable for overcharging Black and Hispanic people with the same credit scores as white people for predatory loans.
Okay.
Same things with Bank of America. They had to pay out $400 million. I mean, you keep seeing this stuff, but yet when I talk about a small bank, people are like, oh, you know, Ericka saves me fees with my ATM card. If you know you're going to be going to your ATM all the time like that, just take out a lump sum of cash at the beginning of the week. And it's almost like, no, Ericka, I'm going to keep lining up at this door and they're going to be nice to me at some point. So my problem is a lot of this is economics. I just did a show with Dr. Kenyon Meadows about the Jewish Phenomenon book. And many people were just blown away in the book. But there was something that I took if you know anything about, if you can go look this up, it's called Income by Ethnicity on Wikipedia. And I'll send you the links afterwards. But essentially, white Americans are like number 18. You're talking about there's Jewish Americans, there's Australians, there's Filipinos, there's all these other people higher up on this list. Indian American was number one, of course, Indian with a dot. And they are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and the average white person is making somewhere around 50,000. So this whole mantra that white people are just out here winning and, oh, they're making all this money. And it's like, it's a few smart moves is the difference of your life. And there's a book called The 10-Year Turnaround, which people thought 10 years, that's ridiculous. If you look back on the past 10-year choices of your life, a lot of people where they are now is from a choice they made 10 years ago. Even if you look at, you know, I talk to people about getting married, you know, why didn't you get married? What happened? Something happened 10 years ago. Something happened 5 years ago. When you talk to them about why they didn't buy a house, something happened 5 years ago. Something happened 10 years ago. It is slight differences in choices because there's white people out there being school teachers. There's white people out there being cops. There's white people out there not making a high income, but at the same time, they're not buying the car. They're buying the house or they're buying the townhouse. When I used to deliver pizzas, there's $1 million area I would drive in. And they had the most popular car in Austin, Texas, 2000 Honda, 2000, what do you call that? Toyota Camry, old cars. But I would go to the rundown, beat down apartments and I'm seeing brand new BMWs, brand new Mercedes, everything you could turn around. You're going, why are these people spending their money on brand new cars when their apartment looks like roaches are climbing all over it? I could never understand it. So it's not that white America is just doing so well because we have plenty of numbers to say they're not. It's some choices along the way. People are making some very poor choices.
Well, let me say this. Growing up, I used to always hear my mom and family members say that too often Black people, we like to keep up with the Joneses. So when it comes to the famous, when it comes to the fancy clothes and the cars, that's not a smart way to invest your money based on fashion and keeping up with whatever is trending. Focus your money on things that are not so much about things that are trending in terms of, will this grow my money? So a lot of times in my experience, some Black people will beg for what they need. Some of us will beg for what we need. No. Beg for what we need and just go out and get what we want. So if it's expensive Jordan shoes, Air Jordans, or whatever it is, I've seen over my years, Black people that I've known really waste their money. You know, the thing that really gets me is when you see a lot of young brothers who go out and they buy all these tennis shoes. They open up their closet and they got a whole closet, a whole room full of shoes. And they're very happy to be able to say, hey, I got this, I got that. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, what if they would have took that money that they invested in all those little rubber shoes that were made by someone?
Rubber shoes.
That were made in another country for probably, what, $5, $3?
$2, probably $2.
$2, but it's sold in America for almost $200 for these shoes. And I always thought, what if a lot of our young people would take that money and invest it in intangible stuff that will grow them money? Think about what they would have today, because you just said something very important. It's about the choices that you make that can translate into what the realities could possibly be. What are your thoughts?
Prime example, 3 years ago, my white friend that I co-owned the painting company with, We drove by this house. It was worth $135,000 in Pflugerville. But it had a renter in it, and they made the carpet dirty and some few scuffs on the wall. And I looked at it and I said, well, you know, I got to come in here and clean it up. I got to come in here and do some work. My friend said, I'll go in half with you. You can rent the rooms out and, you know, we'll make money off this place. And I was like, nah, I don't know. That same house to this day, I drive by that area looking for other homes to buy sold for $285,000.
So that could have been your profit.
Could have been my property, but because it didn't look the way I wanted, and I didn't want to, I don't know if I want to partner and clean it up. It's one of those things, right? So what happens is we make a choice. Again, like I said, it affects us to the 5 years later. This was a 3-year turnaround. You know, we're in a market in Austin that I could see like, oh man, that was a bad choice. But that same young white man, him and 2 other friends went together and bought a house in South Austin for $177,000. Their mortgage, I think, came out to $1,200 between 3 men. That's $400. You know, and they had actually had 5 rooms in that place. So a lot of times what happens is I think we're having people, again, I've heard a lot of people say that we beg for what we need and we get what we want, right? We go out here and, Ericka, you should give me this information free. Give me this information free, Ericka. And this information took time, thousands of dollars, me going to conferences and seminars and events to learn it. But yet you want me to come give you the information for free when I know good and well you're not going to do anything with it. So that's my problem with a lot of that. A lot of times these people, I have a hope that the next generation of young African-American men, like they're doing these studies on millennials. A lot of millennials own stocks and own different investment things as far as Lending Club and Prosper, like 1 in 3. So I'm hoping as far as African Americans, they can get on that trend as well, because, you know, your phone is nothing but a computer in your hand. And there's really no reason why we're out of the loop when it comes to investments, when we're out of the loop on how to, if nothing else, spend $25 a week. If anybody see me always talking about my book, I'm always like, $25. People go, Ericka, what if I lose $25 in my Lending Club investment? It's $25. You've already lost that every day. You've already lost $25 a day when it comes to inflation and taxes and not owning a business. You already lost that a day. I was at a seminar and a guy had 20s in his hand and he was throwing the 20s out of his hand. He says, every day you don't own a business and you're not getting these tax write-offs and you're not investing, this is what you're doing. And he literally was just throwing 20s and people were like, oh my gosh. Wow. Because that's what it is. So
let me go ahead and I want to make we got folks that have come into the chat room. I just want to, and you might want to remind people that follow you too, Sister Williams, because what I'm noticing is that people are sometimes telling me that they're not getting a notification when I. Oh
yeah, it's been happening a lot lately.
So I want to tell everybody in the chat room what I think you should start doing on a regular basis is that all of your favorite YouTubers that you follow, and if I'm one of them or if I'm someone that you're interested in seeing what I do every now and then go to the channel itself and make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure that your bell notification is hit, because what I'm noticing is that I have subscribed to people that I like, and sometimes I'm saying I'm not getting notifications, and then when I go to their channel, I'm subscribed, but the notification for some reason is off. Or sometimes I'm not even subscribed when I know I subscribe to their channel.
There's all that Skynet.
There's a lot of funny business going on YouTube, and I don't know why. Well, I know why it's happening.
Hey, don't say its name. Call it Skynet.
Skynet.
I'm literally getting some T-shirts made. Everybody who's a classy climber, if you're watching the show right now, we're getting some T-shirts made called "I Survived Skynet." I mean, I'm literally, you know, there's some different copyright things and licenses that I could buy, but we're gonna see if we can get around some stuff, and I'm gonna get some shirts that say "I Survived Skynet." So I noticed that about a year ago, that people were like, Ericka, I'm subscribed. I have 14,000 subscribers. And I started telling people, get on the email list, because what is happening, and here, something right now, you want to help push yourself up? Everybody in the comment section, put your city and state in the comment section. There are 70 of you in here. If you want to get this show, Information Man Show, more views, put your city and state in here right now. Put it in here.
Oh, that's another little secret too?
Yeah, everybody right now in the comment section, if you love Information Man Show, you love me coming on here, you want to help him out, put your city and state in here right now in the comment section. Let's pop this comment section. Let's get it up here going. Wow. Because what this does is engagement. The more engagement you have in the comment section, the more they will recommend your channel to all your subscribers. You have 5,000 subscribers. There's no reason why all 5,000 subscribers aren't getting a notification bell. Someone in the comments said they just got a notification at 45 minutes.
What?
That's because the conversation is moving.
Okay. Wow. So
thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody participating. Please put your city and state. Help him out.
So for everybody who has a channel, and I know we got folks like in there like Brother Cap, Psycho Patriot has a channel. Sister's giving us some Jews here. She's saying that having people shout out where they live in the section, having more activity in the chat room actually pushes the video out. Is what you're saying?
Yeah,
right?
It makes the algorithm go, oh, this is what people want to see. This is what people want to hear. That's why last night I had over 2,000 views on my channel, because I talked about Skynet crashing and secure credit cards, and it was like it was gangbusters in there.
Now, there's a brother that goes by the name of Underrated Darkness. And if you're out there, peace to you, brother. He told me he does a stream, and he says he tells people don't use the word sub in the chat room.
Don't use it.
Then say support, because I think he's saying that the system will penalize you.
It's a computer. It's just a computer. It's Skynet. Like when I keep making the joke about this thing being Skynet,
wow,
it is. They have trained this computer to look for certain words, look for engagement. Now, all you guys just popped your city and state here. Thank you, Las Vegas, Houston, Texas in the building, San Bernardino, Atlanta, Dallas, Massachusetts, Florida, Ohio. I'm seeing you. I see you, Toronto. I'll be in Detroit next weekend. Gerald, Texas. Shut up. Who's in Gerald, Texas? We might need to talk. Los Angeles, Massachusetts, Europe. Listen, when you're in here in Phoenix, Arizona, you're in here commenting like this, the computer realizes all these people are commenting. All these people are actively participating. And you hit the like button. People are liking the information. People are commenting on the information. So a lot of these Google, aka Skynet, is doing is just a computer. It's not personal. Now, what happened is I feel there was some personal issues.
Wow.
And all of a sudden YouTube made a black YouTube party. I didn't go to it. I don't know if Glenda Cameron went, but they made a whole black YouTube party, gave us giveaway bags and like, hey, don't worry, we're going to fix it. Sorry, we're going to fix it. So they know the computer was having issues, okay?
Wow.
You started seeing people, young white males, young women. I'm meeting young girls right now with channels of 300,000 people, 400,000 people. And they don't know why, but it's because they live in California and they're young and the algorithm is a computer. It's a computer. So,
wow.
You know, like right now, everybody who is enjoying the show, put a 1 in the comments. There's already more people joining the chat right now. The number just went up.
Wow.
Everybody who's enjoying the show, put a 1 in the comments. Show information, man. You like the show. If you want more time me to come on or something like that, put a 1 in the comments.
But those of you who have a channel, these techniques, everybody should use them. This is fantastic. You're dropping mad knowledge. Wow. Wow. Interesting. So keeping interaction going in the chat room boosts the program in the algorithm.
Sure. Look at O'Shea's channel. Doesn't he ask y'all a lot of questions, a lot of ask for information, interaction? Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's a computer.
Wow.
You're fighting a computer.
Interesting. Interesting.
Well, there was a young lady, I think always a lady. I didn't want to forget her question. She asked me about South Carolina, Iowa. It's way up there now, but she asked about the South Carolina Islands. Now, here's the thing about the South Carolina Islands. I want to blame our New York people for a minute. Sorry. South Carolina, what happened is, that's why I told you it's so different from North Carolina. We have 12 islands in North Carolina and 13 in South Carolina. A lot of the black people, grandpa would die, and the land was split up along all the children. So let's say there's 10 acres and 50 people. You'll see a bunch of trailers all over this place, and you think, oh, that's a trailer park. No, that's actually all those people own slivers of that land. Now, let's say there's some cousin in New York, a descendant, who isn't on that land, and they want to sell. Instead of being able to be purchased out, and companies do this very predatorily, they go, hey, cousin in New York, you want $50,000? Yeah, I want $50,000. All you got to do is sell that piece of land in South Carolina you don't even live on. Now, this person probably doesn't contribute to the taxes. They don't do anything. They don't connect with the cousins down south. And the government, because of old books, laws on the book that were proven racist, they'll make them sell that 10 acres of land. And all 50 people have to move.
Wow.
And they get 3 weeks to come up with the money to pay that one cousin that they don't even know, that they don't even connect with anymore. And so that is something that's been happening terribly in South Carolina. But another thing that's been happening is you have a lot of people coming from New York, and instead of going to Florida, they go halfback. It's what we call halfback. They don't go all the way down to Florida. They go to South Carolina or North Carolina. And so there's a lot of opportunities. If you own land or own cheap houses down there, you can make good money. So I always tell people, get plugged in with a wholesaler, get plugged in with flippers, get plugged in with people who are in the real estate market, because I love hear when Black people say, well, you know, I'm gonna wait till the crash and I'm gonna buy up everything. Not if you don't know anybody. You can sit there for $1 million. You don't know any realtors. You don't know any land places. You don't know where it's good at. You don't know where to invest in, where not to get in. I can tell you right now, I know so much about Nashville, and I'm not even in Nashville. I know so much about Nashville's real estate market. There's several developers selling land lots. And they're selling it for the high dollar. And what that's telling me is the market has cooled off.
Wow.
Because those people had already prepared to build model homes. Now, those same developers, I took the next 2 days, I went and checked on all their properties. Okay. And every single one of their properties had to take a price reduction. So that means what? Nashville's at the top of its market and it is cooling off. So when you're going to see these people trying to sell land lots to you in Nashville for the highest dollar, they're trying to get out before it gets real low.
Wow.
Interesting.
And that's who they're buying from in Nashville. Black people on the east side. They are putting the Black people on the east side out fast. You guys are giving it up quick and fast. So
before we end tonight, I need you, sister, to speak upon the other issue around retirement. Retirement is a number,
not age.
Not an age. Break what that is all about. Break that down, sister.
So, prime example, like a lot of our family members are military. I don't know if you saw the second article, not the first article, but the second article that was out there study. It also talked about the military being very powerful. Well, 1 in 3 Black people's, I think, pensions are tied around government-related jobs, whether that's the post office, military, you name it, some other stuff. Long story short, a lot of those military people do what? They own a house at their first duty station and their last duty station. So now that Black man has one renting out in a last duty station near a military town and a home he lives in here. Okay. So then he gets a pension. Already he could retire in his 40s.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? The money has already covered all his bills, but this is what happens sadly to a lot of African-American men on their last leg of getting out of the military. I know several people. They bought the biggest house they could buy while their income was super high. They bought a brand new BMW. I can tell you right now, there was a man interested in me. He had three children from 3 different women, bought a brand new BMW, brand new house, was getting out of the military, and I asked him what was he doing next. He did not have a plan. He's like, well, I get some money. I get $3,000 a month from the military. That's not going to be enough, young man. That's not going to be enough, 40-year-old man, to make it at this point in time. So it's a number, not an age. That's why I'll give you a prime example. Remember I was telling you about the white kids who were buying townhouses?
Yes.
And a lot of their husbands, I know 2 of the girls' husbands, didn't make a lot of money. They were National Guard guys. They worked some weekends. They, had little side businesses they were trying to kick off. And they paid that $55,000 townhouse off in 10 years. And their student loan debt and their cars.
10 years?
In 10 years.
Wow.
People can pay Escalade off in 8 years. You can't pay a $55,000 house off in 10 years. Think about it. People pay off $40,000 Jeep Cherokees in less than 8 years. They put focus on it. They put energy on it. So these same people, when I'm talking to them and they're 30, we're all 33 years old. How are y'all going on a vacation for a month? How are y'all going out here doing all this stuff for a long month? How are you gone every summer? Your wife's a teacher. Oh, Ericka, we're debt free almost. We have this house paid off, and this other house paid off. I can give you another example of a Black couple. They bought that first townhouse out of college. He had a townhouse, she had a townhouse. They got married. Instead of selling those 2 townhouses, they rent them both out. And he's a PE coach, and it's hard for PE coaches to keep jobs because they're getting rid of PE in every school you look around. Yeah. Unless you stay a football coach, it's going to be real hard for him to stay in that field.
Okay. Wow.
So it's a number. You got to write down. Here's what happened. A lot of people call me and I say, well, hey, what's your retirement? What's your freedom number? And what's your freedom number is? Your freedom number is what do you need to cover all your bills right now and live? Okay. And many people say, well, Ericka, I need $10K a month. I go, well, how much are you making a month now? $3K. How are you going to do this magical leap to $10K if you only make $3K a month now? What you need to really be thinking about and this is something that's very popular. There's a network called Old Dogs Network. It's old and then DAWGS. And they bring on people all the time in their 50s who figured out, oh crap, I got to retire. Now, this is something I wanted to challenge all you guys to think about. If you buy one house a year for 10 years, and on average, those houses are getting you about $700 income back. In 10 years, you'll have $7,000 check coming in at the first, right?
Yes.
On top of your income you still have. Are you financially not better off than most of your friends? That's for the audience. I don't know, I don't know everybody's numbers. I don't know everybody's money. But that is money you didn't have to work for.
Wow.
That is money you have a property manager watching. There's a woman I want you guys to go look up. Her name is Paula Pant. She moved to She moved to Atlanta, Georgia with her backpack from traveling for 3 years and bought 10 properties. Now, she even got one house for $20K. And you know why? Because the black family walked away from it. It was perfectly fine. They were just underwater and refused to pay this house down. Now, little did they know Atlanta was going to come back, right? So she bought that house for $20K, but she has, I think, 10 properties and has basically been semi-retired for the past 7 years. Off 10 properties, y'all.
Off of 10 properties.
10 properties.
Let me go right ahead. Lions Den, can you give a little bit of love to everybody out there in the chat room? I want to thank everybody that's been here tonight, that's been participating. We just learned some pearls, some wisdom tonight from the sister about the algorithm of YouTube, and this was fantastic information that you dropped on us. I really appreciate that. Lions Den, let's give a little shout out to everybody in the chat room because they've been hanging with us tonight, and I really appreciate everybody in the chat room.
Yeah, a shout out to Exposing Fake Pro Blacks, Brenda Johnson, Vonda Harris, Six Figure Days, T. Kelly, Kendra Azevedo, Brother Danubian, Always a Lady, Bobby Bowman, The Real Aaron Collins, Chica Photo, Cap, Duma S, Cookie Primrose, Chris McDonald, King Wage. Let's see, I'm going all the way up. Okay, K, Dumas, PR Detection, Athea Miller, Art Nusto, Jacia Dorco, T Smoothie Sounds, Mentor Shelley, Tajiri, Patrick. Let's see, Patrick Anlade. Let's see. Okay, the Wild Jones Report. Almost done, guys. The Geek Surgeon.
I appreciate it, Lions. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, Bridget G. Let's see. I believe that. Let's see here. I'm trying to. Okay, I believe that is it. Info. Oh, MG's also in the building. So basically, that is it.
All right. Let me. I'm putting Sister Williams. I'm putting links to her chat, to her channel, and also if you want to get in contact with her business address to contact her. You do teach classes, right, sister?
I do. I teach a marijuana investment course. I teach a investing in the stock market course. I teach a tax lien course. A lot of times what people are going to see is me doing a rehab show on a property in Detroit in the spring. I'm going to go to the Marijuana Investment Conference November 14th through the 17th in Las Vegas. They have a breakout session all day on minorities in marijuana. They also have a breakout session on women in marijuana. If you guys get a chance to be in Las Vegas, you need to be a part of that. They are about to make millions in this industry off people, and we're going to miss that. We're going to miss that boat. Another thing, I'm going to Afro Tech, where there are black startups in San Francisco, California. Hopefully in between there, I might stop a swing through Oakland. And that's November 8th through 11th. Next November 2nd through 4th, I'll be in Baltimore, Maryland, Charm City Buyers. That's a very important area. You guys need to pay attention. Charm City Buyers has been on my show. They've bought 18 properties. They're not even 30 years old yet.
Let me hip you this. There is a, how can I say this? Let me know when you come into the Bay Area, sister. I can give you a chance for us to connect. If you're in the San Francisco or if you're even in the Oakland area, I would definitely like to connect with you if possible.
For sure.
This is fantastic. Now, My last question for you tonight.
Hold on, wait, before you ask your question, I was going to say, exposing fake pro-blacks, he said that his father had a great pension, his grandfather. Another reason I talk about the military so much is my mother did 26 years.
Okay.
She gets $96,000 a year in retirement. And a lot of people keep laughing about the military. I ain't never going to the military. Majority of the black men I meet that do their 4 to 5 years come out. They can buy a house, VA loan, they're eligible, no money down. And they're eligible to get $5,500 from school every month. Those are most of the black men I see getting an extra head. Like, they don't have to work a job. They're getting a check on top of going to school. So it's just, I wanted to agree with what he had said about his grandfather getting a pension, but go ahead.
And I think it's also important after you, because I want to give you the credit. I know you're going to see a lot of folks on YouTube who may do videos. Hey, Brenda Johnson. Golly, Brenda Johnson, it's good to see you. She says, I just got back from the States. You know, Brenda Johnson lives over in Europe. I think the UK, London. And she's originally from the States. I wish you would have contacted me when you came into the States. What state were you in, sister? She's been one of my biggest supporters. I love her. She's great. It's good to see you in the chat room. What I wanted to say is that you found the article, or you discovered the article, and you put it out there. And I think Obsidian has been running with that article now. I think he was.
There's 2 different articles. There's 2 different ones. One's a study that's 33 pages.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Is that the family study?
Yeah, I think that one is the AIE. AEI.
I was thinking about doing something on it, but I want to say that you brought it to the. I only know about this because you brought it to the attention of the brothers and myself about black men highly moving into the middle class. And I just have to repeat that. What was the target number? What was it? You said 2.5 million black men?
5 million.
2.5.
And that's upper. That's upper middle class.
We're talking about
that's not just middle class. That's upper.
And there's 2.5 million black men that have moved up into the upper middle class in this country. So I'm bringing this up just to say, I'm not going to minimize black people or black men out there that are struggling every day. But what I'm bringing this up for is to say, we can't always listen to these narratives that put black people into this sort of loop of being non-successful, because we all have the ability to be successful, and we all can be. I believe that success is not only based on money personally, but it's based on if you're doing something that brings you joy, that you enjoy doing. And if you can make money doing things that you enjoy doing, more power to you. But you must be on your purpose. You must be on your purpose. You must be on your grind. You must never give up on yourself. Believe in yourself. You're going to have people that are going to be naysayers, but always believe in yourself. Sister, I cannot end the program without asking this one, which is break down to the good people listening, what is business credit?
Okay, so a lot of times over the past 2 years, there was this craze about business credit. Everybody's trying to get business credit separate from their personal. And what they did not realize is the Patriot Act, please go look this up. The Patriot Act allowed the banks now to say, I don't give a crap if you say this is just your business. I need to know who is in that business, because you could be a terrorist. You could be all these other things. And that's what the Patriot Act has allowed them to check out your information, even when you are a business. Now, with that being said, I just want to put that out there because a lot of people, they get mad with me when I say that. There is vendor credit and there's unsecured credit. A lot of people want unsecured credit via credit cards, but they need to be hip to the game that credit cards are not the business. It's unsecured business lines of credit that are business. That is where the stuff is. Okay, so now people, when we talk about vendor credit, a lot of people who have these barbershops, hair salons, food restaurants, they could go around and call and get $300,000 worth of vendor credit. And they're going to be on net 30s, net 60s, net 90s. That's what they're going to be on. When it comes to that unsecured side, like I want to buy houses, Ericka, with none of my money. Okay, so at the end of the day, you can get all types of loans. I talk on the show. I talk on that show about auction.com. I go on auction.com and there's actual loans that provide 95% of the purchase price because it's based on the collateral of that property.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing when it comes to the tax liens and tax auctions. You can buy in your business name. The difference is a lot of people are trying to use Duns and Bradstreet. Let me give you a little secret that's not a little secret anymore. 80% of banks do not care about Duns and Bradstreet. Experian and Equifax have moved into that market space, and they're going to still tie it to, in some ways, your personal. Now, many people say, well, Ericka, they can't do that. I'm a corporation. They can't do that. Here's how you break out of that. If you tell me you're a business and you've been open for 2 years and every month you've been making $8,000 a month, for sure, they don't have to look at your private information. They're going to go, the wherewithal, that business is so strong that we're going to give you credit based off the income of that businesses. But a lot of people are not making income like that. And honestly, a lot of people are not tracking properly. You never see like the merchant little swipe cards people get, the little Stripe accounts,
Yes.
and also the PayPal accounts.
Yes.
I keep very detailed accounts. Every morning when I wake up, I update my QuickBooks. Well, guess what? QuickBooks now does loans. PayPal does 2 different types of loans. And that's coming off of you guys keeping good records, keeping good data. Another kicker, if you've been in business for 5 years, there's several banks right now, Bank of England's one of them, who on your 5th year of business, they only need 1 year's tax return. If you've been in business for 5 years, you only need 1 year's tax return that 5th year, and they can approve you for a mortgage for a house. So a lot of times what's happening is people are saying, oh yeah, I could get it without my name or my personal, I don't need a PG, nothing, Ericka. And I am telling you, show me your monthly statement and I can tell you if that's true. If you're kicking out $10,000, $12,000 in sales every month from Amazon or FBA or something, or some kind of barbershop or whatever, sure, that person doesn't need it. They can get it by without a PG. But you say I'm off the street with making no money, some business with no money out of your house, they're going to be like, let me see that PG. And even if you say, no, I don't particularly want to give my PG, they can actually, via the Patriot Act, take a peek to see if you are who you say you are.
Okay. Okay. Let me just say this for everybody in the chat room that's new to my channel. I want to thank you for being here. Make sure you subscribe. Everybody hit the likes. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I think this video, what we're doing tonight, Sister Ericka Williams is giving us valuable information. This sister is taking the time out of her busy schedule. She's been traveling around the country. When I contacted her, she said, you know what? I can do a late night show with you. She's about 2 hours different from me in the West Coast. And this is a sister who gets paid for teaching this information. She's really giving us a valuable resource. So please, please share this in your social media. Let's make this video go viral as possible, because without you, this can't be possible. I told you, and I keep telling you folks, because I respect everybody in the chat room and everyone listening, that I want to keep bringing people on the channel who are bringing positive content. Sister Williams, I've been talking to Brother E. Dean. I'm going to bring him on the channel next, so he can give us some more financial empowerment. So I have so many things installed to bring very content that you can use. Okay, so I want to thank you. If you are new to the channel, definitely thank you for the support. Tell people about it. Tell people about this video. I think it's important that as many people see this video as possible. Lions Den, brother, you've been very patient. I appreciate your patience. Do you have anything else that you want to ask the sister? Anything you're curious about that she's talked about tonight?
Yeah, I have one final question to the sister. When it comes to the housing development now, and you said that some of the properties are now going lower. Which homeowner can invest which property that is good or not good, whether it's in the Black community or any type of community? Which property that is very good for the homeowner to buy?
So for the homeowner, if I was a homeowner, I would focus on, if I had children, I'd pick the best home I could for my children's school. I don't have any kids, but that's a big seller when it comes to housing as a former real estate agent, which I still have my license. I just didn't pay my dues this semester. It is one of the biggest sellers is the school, because people don't want to get into a neighborhood that's at the top of their budget and also try to send their kids to private school. So I always tell people, let's say you got approved for $150,000, but you're a young couple starting out, get you a townhouse for $75K. And then see if you can get a second property for $50K, because technically you're still under that amount that you were approved for. Many banks will work with you. Many smaller banks will work with you. And also someone in the comments, I'm going to address them in a second. But yeah, home ownership, for the homeowner, you really need to just focus on, is this home a great home? And can I turn around next year and rent this home out if I want to move or a job change happens? I was going to address Patrick, I think, and Gail. I don't know how to say his name. I apologize. He said, if you don't have PG and your business tanks, then your personal credit profile doesn't get harmed, correct? So here's the myth on that. American Express and many of the credit card companies, I'll set it up this way. Donald Trump's whole thing with his LLC he had with his lawyer. It was a flimsy LLC. It was flimsy. It didn't give enough protection. It didn't give enough meat on the bones for them to fight and protect in court. So that then LLC is getting tossed out and they can go after them personally. Same things happen with a lot of people with these LegalZoom cheap LLCs that, oh, I didn't give my PG. They're going to go through there and see if you commingled any of that money. Now, what's an example of commingling? You paid your personal cell phone with your business credit card. It's commingling. Unless you can prove that cell phone was used for business purposes, you just commingled. Okay, I accidentally paid for a bunch of dinners that weren't business related. You just commingled your accounts. They are coming after people. They're not going to play with y'all when it comes to this business credit. Now, Dean Cohen and me, I haven't followed all his stuff, but he may have some different techniques. But at the end of the day, they are really coming after people. Go watch the American Greed show. Go see all these people that are getting taken to court by Amex. Okay. They're not playing that game no more. You're not going to play with them when it comes to lending businesses millions of dollars. Can you file bankruptcy? Sure, but I don't recommend it for anybody. It's an option. I just don't recommend it on my channel.
Wait a minute. I gotta get on. I gotta talk to you about this.
Okay.
Your point of view, let me get this right, is that you don't recommend people do a bankruptcy. Why, in your opinion, do you feel that it's not the best option when many people are being told in this society that it may be the best option? When you feel like you're in a financial, like you're being drowned, you know what I'm saying?
Studies show that within 3 years, the average person who files for bankruptcy is in another financial turmoil again, and they're actually worse than where they started. And this is from law firms. Law firms who are the ones who are setting up these structures for people to be able to be bankrupt. They actually keep your name on record because they know 90% of the chance they're going to call you in 3 years and you're going to be back in more trouble.
Now, so, I know that when you go through a bankrupt, I've had a family member go through a bankruptcy.
They're two different types.
After a couple of years, or all of a sudden they start getting credit card companies, things in the mail. Hey, sign up for this. Is that what's get people in a pickle? That once people get their credit cleaned up and they start getting cards sent to them, they kind of say to themselves, "Oh, I can handle it this time." But if you never really changed your habits,
yeah,
right back to that which you've always done, because you never really address what the real problem is, which is actually you.
Yeah,
and your choices and your habits. Is that
well? Here's my thing on it. A man making $10K a month and he files for bankruptcy, he's going to live his life. He's going to be able to probably get another apartment. He's going to probably get another car. He's going to be okay. A school teacher filing bankruptcy and only makes $3,000 a month, they're going to try to make her pay some of that back. I've seen people actually try to make these people pay this back in payment structure, where this one lady said she only had $400 a month left over to live on. So you can't play big boy games if you don't have big boy money. And I think bankruptcy originally was for people who over leveraged themselves financially, but bankrupting, they could still make some payments and not be destitute.
Okay,
and, Man of Tomorrow said it, piercing the corporate veil. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay,
piercing the corporate veil. Yeah.
Tomorrow, let me go ahead and I should have done this a long time ago. Let me moderate my man of Tomorrow. Let me moderate him up. I respect him. Let me just say something. Let me tell the story. So my family, this is the story. my family member went and got the bankruptcy. They were sort of ashamed about going to the bankruptcy because they thought that it was something like, you know, it's really something to be ashamed of. The lawyer says, well, no, it's nothing to be ashamed of because rich people have been doing this sort of thing for years to get out of their debt. See those cars out there, Mercedes-Benz, whatever. Is that true? Is it something that wealthy people, in some cases, particularly white folks, have been able to continue their wealth through using this system? And that the thought is that once poor people catch on to it, they'll close the door on us. What's the thing? Is it just that people who are already wealthy, they have other assets to kind of help them overcome the bankruptcy in the end because they have other assets? What is it?
I think it is the assets and the income. It's a two-factor system because if you file for bankruptcy, it's on your public records, employees who do background checks. So if you're somebody who's trying to get a job, we already see employers have always been scanning. You're not going to be able to get certain clearances. There's a lot of things that go into when someone says they're going to file bankruptcy. A lot of times I've talked on the phone with people, oh man, I'm getting ready to file bankruptcy. And I'm like, how much do you owe? You know, the limit is 10K. Mm-hmm. And what that says to me when someone owns 10K and they're filing bankruptcy because they have 10K, they're right at the rules of 10K. You could work, again, a part-time job for a year and pay $1,000 on your debt and be clear of that debt in 1 year. Some of it is discipline. Some of it is actual they need to bankrupt. But everybody I've talked to that's been through the bankruptcy and I've had consulting calls with, you know, they were looking to, hey, in 2 years, I can turn right around and get another house. They really weren't looking to like, I need to change some behaviors and actions. So could we say rich people do it? Sure. But I'm trying to get people to the point of how can I hear myself as a person, get some more assets so that I'm not even in a position to go, oh my God, $500 emergency came up and I'm bankrupt. Do you know what caused the foreclosure crisis? 90% of the homes, how much they were short a month? Take a guess on the number.
You got me for a loss here.
They were short $500.
There's $500?
The average person that went through the foreclosure process when they were doing the documentation and they were doing the numbers and they're saying, you know, what happened, you know, what in the crisis, that was the average of most people's bills was $500. They were short, so they were using credit cards. Then the credit card stopped, and then, you know, it just was a house of cards. Okay, so short, $500.
Let me tell you a short little story. When I was married, I owned a home, and when that big recession really hit the country big time, and the home market the bubble just blew. I was fortunate because my wife had a good job. I have a good job. We both were state workers, and basically what happened is we were able to pay our mortgage and do all those sort of things. But what really hurt me was that I had neighbors around me that were losing their property, their homes. Mm-hmm. And it made the value of my home go down, down, down. Mm-hmm. And so unfortunately, I went through a divorce and we ended up getting out of the home by doing a short sale in California at that time. And the reason why is because I had a neighbor who was a friend of mine, by the way, who actually was like saying, I'm going to go upside down in this house. I'm going to end up owing more on the house than what the house was worth because this crisis is impacting me. Mm-hmm. So I actually got out of the property mainly because of the divorce and also realizing that I'm going to be upside down in this property. Mm-hmm. So I did a short sale. Unfortunately, we didn't live in the place long enough to really gain enough equity. Mm-hmm. However, when I look back on it now and tell me if it was the right decision or not, I think for me financially, I hate to have lost the place because it was a beautiful home, but I think financially it was the best thing for me to do going forward because after everything hit the fan with the housing market here in California at that time, I really would have been in much worse shape. Mm-hmm. Because at that time, that was around the time when you had the predatory loans, you had people moving into their homes with nothing down. Mm-hmm. With high interest rate, you know what I'm saying?
What's the value on that house now? If you look it up on Zillow, what's the value of that? Here's my point. I believe you.
If I told you I'm going to go in after this show is over, I'm going to go and cry.
I'm just telling you, here's what I say.
Position.
A lot of people were promoting the short sale system.
Okay.
And what I think is if you had a fixed mortgage, and this is in Amanda tomorrow, anybody else can comment on here. If you had a fixed mortgage and your payments were going to be the same, and you could get a renter in that house, even if you're getting through a divorce, and I apologize for that happening to you, but if you could rent it out, many people's values came back in less than 3 years. And most people had kids, and most people stayed in their homes. And so a lot of times the argument that I'm underwater, it would hurt you if you're in an area that you don't think it was going to come back. But anybody who was in California and Las Vegas, their homes went back and then some.
Yeah, but see, the problem is I lived in the county of Sacramento, California, capital California. Outside of Vegas, we got hit the hardest.
Oh yeah, I know the area. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, you did get hit bad.
Compared to okay, I'll just tell you, the home when we got it. See, let me tell you how it works. A lot of people who live in the Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland, Vallejo, Oakland, that whole area, moving to the Sacramento area is like, it's like a boost in your lifestyle, because you could buy a home in the Sacramento area for dirt cheap, which would cost you almost $1 million in San Francisco or in the Bay Area, right? So the home that I brought was a tri-level home. I mean, I had my own little loft area, private area. It was a tri-level home. I had about 2 patios on this home. I mean, it was fantastic. And we, and when I think about it now, I should have figured out a way I should have rented this damn place, because what it's worth now.
Did you go see? Did you go look?
Yeah, that's why I don't want to.
Sorry.
I don't want to tell you, because after we end this stream tonight, folks, I'm going to go in my room, put my thumb in my mouth, and I'm going to cry like a little baby.
Listen, you did what you had to do at the time. A lot of people at the time,
crazy in California. I hear you. So many things, and my neighbors are losing. I thought I was going to lose my shirt, and the reason why I did it, it came off of the back of a divorce. I was emotional at the time. A lot of things were not going right.
I want to get rid of that house. That reminds me of my situation.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard. Listen, trust me. You're a real estate agent. I know what you're talking about.
It was. I think at that time I was thinking more emotionally, rather than logical. And if I had been more logical in my thinking, I think I should have held on to it, and it could have been. But
well, if you had the finances to go onto a new location, because there was an interview on a guy in California who bought his neighbor's houses. That's what he did. He bought his neighbor's house because he was so scared of everybody's houses falling under. So now he had 2 houses, and as the economy went back, he came back. Right here in Austin, my friend's mom bought 3 houses around her that went through foreclosure, and she's a millionaire.
That's right. People who had money to burn, who got in the market when everything went downhill, they really racked up. Then you had you know what happened in the Sacramento area too? You had a lot of corporation buying up homes, dirt cheap, and letting their workers live in it, like people who bring over from other parts of the country. Then you had banks who were sitting on this property, and if I'm not mistaken, the banks still make a profit even when they're sitting on this property, right? Because eventually
they don't pay any taxes, and eventually they do sell them.
Yeah, so they can, and they're still gonna still make some profit off these assets. So it's just amazing things that go on. But sister, I'm gonna put a crescendo on tonight's show.
No worries.
Lions Den, give some Lions Den, unmute yourself, brother, so you can say some last words to the sister. Unmute yourself, Lions Den. Well, he's back east. He's probably tired, ready to get his butt.
It's 12:40 where I am. It's okay. It's okay.
I apologize, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, as O'Shea would say, if the white man gets you.
Now I have to step out for a second. But sister, you really taught us everything about real estate investment. I appreciate you coming to the show tonight. You are amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I love the thumbnail you guys put together. That is awesome.
I'm gonna
find some more cool ones.
Put that thumbnail back up on the screen as we end the show tonight. And I'm gonna send you the copy of that thumbnail. Everybody, you gotta admit that you were taken to school tonight. You got knowledge. The sister gave it to you. I'm gonna hit this introduction for the sister again because you need to do this.
Hey everybody, you're listening to Sister Ericka Williams, breaking it down: business, motivation, real estate, investment, black business. Make sure you check out her YouTube channel and subscribe. Thank you.
It's been a great night tonight. It's been great having you here, sister. Remind everybody before you leave, sister, where they can find you again.
Hey, everybody. You can find me at Classy Climb blog, which is classyscl.com. You can also find me as Ericka's Classy Climb on Instagram. Careful which Instagram you find me on. I have a gun channel and I have a little my regular business channel. You can find me as Ericka Williams here on YouTube. We got about 14,000 subscribers, or we're almost right there at 14,000 subscribers. Been doing this about 5 years, been making about 6 figures for the past 2.5 years, almost 3 years. There's a lot of opportunity out here in the marketplace. And I hope you guys get out here. I hope we can do a future show where we talk about the power of $10,000. There's a lot of companies you can start with $10,000, a lot of things you can do. So maybe we can do something like that in the future. But yeah, I look forward to speaking with all you guys again. Thank you for coming out. I know it's late for where some of you are. And thank you for participating in the chat. Cap PY2, you're up there in Gerald, Texas. Maybe we can meet. I actually am looking at a rental near that area, so near Taylor. So anyways, you guys, this is Ericka from the Classy Climb blog, author of The Smartphone Millionaire, How to Invest in People, Real Estate from the Palm of Your Hand. Information man, thanks for letting me come out tonight.
Thank you. I'm going to put the thumbnail back up for everybody to see. Beautiful thumbnail. I'm going to send you a copy of that. Lions Den, give everybody some love in the chat room. We got to give, once again, this sister a clap. I'm going to give her a clap again because she's fantastic. Everybody in the chat room is fantastic. Woo! Lions Den, let's name everybody in the chat room before we end it. I'm going to hit our music, brother.
All right, we got the real Aaron Collins, brother the Nubian, GTG 2800, Vonda Harris, Mrs. Love Jones, brother the Nubian, the real Aaron Collins, your real nuts, Kendra Zevido, Cap, Cam,
real nuts.
They're crazy.
Six Figure Davis, Six Figure Days. Let's see, Explosion of Fake Pro Blacks, T Smoother Sound, let's see, Chris McDonald, I'm gonna go throw a K Jonesy, Patrick Englay, going straight up, the Man of Tomorrow, King Wade. Let's see here, I'm gonna go straight up. Oh wow, it's a lot of people tonight.
I know.
Be that BB 103.
Great show.
Mentor Shelley. I'm going straight up. Let's see. I'm trying to miss that. I believe that's all. It's all info.
Okay, I got an announcement to make too. Everybody, make sure you come back Friday night. We're gonna come on about the same time that we came on tonight. I've got my man AM1 from Oakland, California. We go do it Oakland style tomorrow, Friday night. Town business. We got my man AM1. He's a business. He's a creative. He's a creative individual, brother. He has a business in Oakland. We're gonna bring him on, talk to you about his business, the creative concepts that he comes up with in his business, the things that he's doing in Oakland, the marketing that he's doing. The brother's doing a little bit of everything Brother is AM1. He kind of looks like Stephen Curry of the Warriors, my team, the Warriors, which I've been following the Warriors since 1976. I'm not a bandwagon fan, folks.
Oh man, not that.
So I go all the way back to Sleepy Floyd and World Be Free and all those kind of folks like that with the team. But we're going to bring him on Friday night. So definitely need the crowd to come out for that. And then on Saturday during the early part of the day, I got a brother that I've been talking to who works as a therapist in mental health like I do. And we're going to be focusing on Black mental health. So like I said, the show is evolving into giving you information that you really can use that's helpful. We got to give a clap to my man, Lions Den, who does a great job helping me out.
Thanks. Thank you.
Lions Den, let everybody know where they can find you because Lions Den has a channel. Support Lions Den channel. The brother does a lot of reaction cam videos to some of the things that are happening in the news that affect us. Brother Lions Den, where can they find you, brother? You can put your channel in the description in the link if you like, brother.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to do that right now. Y'all can go as Tommy Guns 2000, but you can look for me as Lions Den. 2000 Tommy Guns 2008. That's what y'all can find me as Tommy Guns 2008. I'm gonna go ahead and post the link right now for a lot of people that want to check me out.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. He's got a good channel. He finds a lot of stories that are going on in the news, and he gives you a candid response to what's going on. Great channel. We're going to keep, like I said, we're going to keep evolving here. I do have some things in the work. I actually want to start getting into green screen and creating a background image like I'm in a real studio somewhere. I have a lot of different things I want to do. I want to give a shout out to brother Life Machine Power. Definitely check his channel out. Life Machine Power is a brother who's he's a Jamaican brother who's out of Toronto, Canada. He's got a very calm, very cool disposition to him. Check him out. Now I got another brother in the chat room that goes by the name of Marlowe's Corner. If you like great boxing content, great boxing talk, action, analysis, you must check out, and I'm going to say it again, Marlowe's Corner. Check it out. Thank you, everybody. Lions Den, you got your link of your channel in there. Let me put the link of Sister Ericka Williams link in the chat room again myself. And I'm going to play our concluding music as I put her information in there again.
Wait a minute, info. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, info. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, info. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, info. Wait a minute. It's the info man in the Lions Den. 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 It's the info man. Yup, it's the Lions Den. Yup, you can fuck with us. Nope, so stop trying then. Still, it's the info man. Yup, it's the Lions Den. Yup, you can fuck with us. Nope, so stop trying then. Still heavyweight, so they try to infiltrate with hate. Like my liver off my plate, but we do not take the fake. Don't never take. When it's time to do it to it, we still do they bullshit like how it's done, Floyd. Wait a minute, Lions Den. Wait a minute. It's the info man and the Lions Den. It's the info man and the Lions Den. Raise your ass up, back your slumber. This ain't no dream. You can't fuck with Lion or info team. Raise your ass about your slumber. This ain't no dream. You can fuck with Diane RM14. Raise your ass about your slumber. This ain't no dream. You can fuck with Diane RM14. Raise your ass about your slumber. This ain't no dream. You can fuck with Diane RM14. The info, it's the info. Whatever you wanna know, come join the the info show. The info, it's the info. Whatever you wanna know, come join the info show. The info, it's the info. Whatever you wanna know, come join the info show. It's the info. We got it's the info. It's the info. Whatever you wanna know, come join the the info, it's the info. Whatever you wanna know, come join the info show. The info, it's the info. Whatever you wanna know, come join the info show. It's the info, it's the info. Whatever you wanna know, come join the info show. It's the info, we got the info. Whatever you wanna know, come join the info show. It's the info man. You can call him information info man. Kicking knowledge all over this nation. Win, lose, or draw. You can bring your hate team, but if you want to win, please don't bring your debate team. We talking Japanese shogun, Aztecs, old mix, and African dogun. The info.
I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, for supporting the show. It's a great show. Once again, share it in your social media, like, comment. This is fantastic. Ericka Williams, we got to have her back on. She was a fantastic guest tonight. She basically I just said, hey, this is her show. I wanted to get the same flavor that she gives on her platform. So I want to thank all you out there, everybody in Facebook Live that were listening, and to my folks out there listening in speaker.com. Thank you for tuning in as well. And you know, I can't end the show without my signature last statements here, and you know what they are, and get ready for them.
What can be done? The black lady need to be codified. We can't stop cleaning, not building, but ready for progress.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.